Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich. I'm going to go for a few minutes, and then I'm going to hand it off to Rich or whatever else, because I've just about had it with this year. In particular, this week was another very depressing week in the world, and in particular, as a wrestling fan, listening to some of these things that we've learned. Just to catch everybody up. There have been lots and lots and lots of people that have came forward that had ties to the professional wrestling industry out of the western side of the world. A lot of them inside of the UK and European wrestling scene that have come forward and have told us about their abuse and just complete gross sexual misconduct from lots of people in and around this industry, ranging from all types of levels of this industry, just from small indies to promoters basically working at lockstep to protect people, to top draws in the indie scene, blackballing people, to effectively blackballing people, to people in WWE, people in AEW. This is something that I thought was going to happen in 2018 when we were also going through what people call the Me Too movement, where people were coming forward and standing up to their abusers or naming them or just, getting whatever need to get off their chest to move on with their lives. And, but, it happened this week in this industry, and there are ripple effects that go all across, the industry right now. And it ranges from Will Ospreay to Matt Riddle to Joey Ryan to Jim Cornette and his wife to, Travis Banks from NXT UK. I don't even know. There's so many names. I don't know where to start. Ligero.
He had a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Velveteen Dream.
Jack Gallagher. Velveteen Dream, who we've been talking about, which is, more accounts on Velveteen Dream. I got to tell you guys, this has been a very troubling, trying year, and I've got to tell you, quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of having to start these shows off at the top with something terrible happening. We haven't discussed it, but that is life, and life ain't always easy. And whatever this is damn sure nothing that any of these people had to go through having to talk
Jordan
about
Devlin
their
and
pain.
David Starr are probably like the two that
right.
jumped it all off.
That's right. So I don't know where to start. I don't know if you want to go case by case, but just in general, it's we'll be doing a 2-hour show doing that. But just in general, like it's there on the internet and it's been collected, and people have been posting and writing stories about it. And to the victims of all of this nonsense, I hope that you can find some sort of peace from the pain that was caused you by the idiots in this fucking industry. I hope that this industry gets fucking cleaned up. I'm at a loss for words, even though I've just been talking for however long, but that's been the case so far, and obviously more will be coming out of this in the machinations of people's jobs and ripple effects of whether or not companies are going to do the right thing, or if they're going to fire people or whatever they come up with. So, now that all this stuff has been put out in the open, it's time for these companies and, quite frankly, adults to be adults and make the right choices in these situations.
I'm usually very excited to come do One Nation Radio every Sunday night. Happy to talk to James about, wrestling and what else is going on in the world, about jokes and anything we can try to entertain you guys with. But this was a show that I just was like dreading. I was like, the later we do it, the better, because it's just like more time I have to think about what I want to say, how, more time to just kind of reflect on like how all this stuff made me feel. And it was just terrible. Just, the stuff Joe Coffey was doing, just all this stuff, like, from everyone across, the industry. And it's like, as much as it is an industry problem, it's not an industry problem.
Yes,
this is not exclusive to wrestling,
right?
So it's like there's only so mad that I'm going to get at professional wrestling, right? But like these, like wrestling, you know, wrestling is so poorly built to be able to deal with something like this. It's not like there's an HR department for the wrestling business itself. It's like maybe in individual companies there's HR, but like small lower level places, like there's no HR for that. Like it's keeping your good name and making sure you're not getting blackballed, to keep getting booked, to keep getting checks essentially, and to keep getting paid. And you know, when you think about wrestling being a terribly equipped industry that goes from all the way to WWE and AEW and anything else that's top of the line to like the very bottom. So when new people are starting, and this is how, you know, like there's no rule that says you can't bring a 14-year-old into your training, you know, thing. And it's just like, it's saddening. Like I think like the common thing that, you know, I kept seeing across all these stories, and this was involving fans as well too. It wasn't just like wrestlers, but more on the wrestler side. There was a lot of grooming going on, you know, early scouting, you know, one may say. And it's just like, that's like I remember growing up and, you know, knowing girls my age, and I would always hear, I'd be in like 7th grade, right? And then she'd be like, yeah, my boyfriend's in high school. I was like, why? Like, and I would be like, huh? Like, I just didn't understand it, right? Like, when I was like, why would that, you know, why would that happen? Like, and then like you get older, and then it's just like, well, what were they looking for? They were looking for either someone they could prey on emotionally, physically, sexually, that they couldn't, you know, in their own age bracket. Applying that to wrestling, the Travis Banks and Millie McKenzie thing was one of them that really just kind of disgusted me the most. He was in his 30s. I believe she was 16 or 17.
17, and he was 30 fucking years old.
Yeah, and it was just like, bro, like, and you're talking about the power dynamics with teachers and students, essentially. You're talking about wrestling, once again, you know, trying not to be blackballed, but not even that. This man went out and had an all-out fucking relationship with this minor. Do not hit me with this in the UK, you know, is 16 years old. No, motherfucker, because, like, they don't be in the UK 100% of the time. These people are on a global stage. Like, you can kiss my ass with that. I don't care.
I agree with you. The Millie one particularly pissed me off because she's one of the standout performers in Pro Wrestling Eve. I don't really talk about Pro Wrestling Eve that much, but her and Medusa Complex they're one of the better women's tag teams we have on this globe. She is 20 years old. She's a good ass wrestler. Like, every time I've ever seen her, I've always thought, I look at how many dates she's already had and how the schedule she works, how like she's one of the few Western women that gets tons of dates because she's trying to work on her craft to get better every chance she gets. And I have well wishes for her in her career. I hope that she can become, you know, one of the top women wrestlers out of the Western scene. I hope somebody snatches her up. She's already that good at 20. And to hear this is just like, for a 20-year-old girl, fuck that. I don't care what you say about a young woman. She's a girl, a 20-year-old girl, to have gone through that kind of shit, to come on the other end. Just 3 years later, at 20 years old, has wherewithal to realize, this is what happened with me. I was groomed. I was taken advantage of. And I'm coming forward in front of this person that was her trainer, this person that, you know, whatever the relationship dynamic was that was clearly unbalanced and fucked up, to have that kind of clarity at that age. Like, I'm so impressed and so, you know, she's even tougher and I admire her even more than I did before. And like, the Travis Banks thing is just, fuck him. Like, he doesn't need
Yeah.
to be in the industry no more. Fuck him. He needs to get out. Or someone needs to get him out for him.
And the like, it started with the David Starr one where I don't know if it was a fan or it was just like they pretty much kicked the door in on David Starr's entire charade, that he's, you know, painting himself as, like, you know, did David Starr say a lot of stuff that, you know, was correct about the wrestling industry? He did. You can't take that away from him. But we're going to also amplify this motherfucker that's been so embarrassed that he left Twitter by this stuff. He was really, like, using these psychotic techniques during his apology. He was doing promoted tweets for his apology, naming all his, you know, the people he's done wrong, so everyone can go, you know, essentially like exposition dump on them, like, whoa, what happened? And then those people have to recount those stories again. And then Jordan Devlin, like, he came out and said all this stuff was false. But I mean, this woman was uploading pictures of herself where she was being bruised, and I guess, you know, from, you know, Devlin inflicting this stuff on her.
That's what she said. So I'm taking her word, not his.
Right. It's like, I mean, why would she just have those pictures laying around? Like, I don't. This is like a, you know, it's a sad time for, you know, fans, you know, people in wrestling, you know, you got to keep in mind, just, you know, we watch all the promotions and we feel like there's like tons and tons and tons of wrestlers. There's not. Like, this is a tight knit group of people, like, regardless of, like, you know, it's a fraternity. It's a, you know, it's a society, for lack of a better word. So chances are, you never know who knows each other, but it's a small group of people. So it's like, this is going to shake, and I think it's going to lead to something better, you know, as far as, like, people not being afraid to come forward. But you can only hope that, like, there's no guarantee. You know, had it not got out of hand to the degree it did, I would have been like, well, things are going to get back to normal, you know, the next week, and everyone's going to forget about this or whatever. Because, you know, just what happened on Twitter this week, it seems like, with this year. This is so big and so, like, every company is touching, essentially.
Right.
And it's like everyone's going to have to, like, have an answer. And I don't think everyone does. Right.
And even people that are trying to do more than just the simple, the simple, you know, hand waving fake PR shit is even getting this wrong. Like, AEW sent out for Jimmy Havoc's situation. They sent out a press release about him going away to get rehab. And, like, look, I don't know the specifics of the Jimmy Havoc one in that particular, but I do know that he was mentioned with all this stuff going along too, and I do know that they talked about sending him off to rehab. And, like, for me personally, I'm not necessarily a person that is about just throwing away people just all together. You know, if there is jail time, I believe that jail time should be, you know, similar, close to enough. I believe that you don't forget, but people do pay to make amends or whatever else, and rehab is a better step than just fucking it being in denial. But I gotta say, for a press conference to come out and not say anything about, not saying the words sexual misconduct or abuse, that's just like one of these press conferences from one of these police stations that don't say anything, or any of these companies that talk about what we're going through right now, all these riots, and they don't bring up police brutality. It's like, no, you're trying to apologize or trying to say that someone's making a better way out of what? Say it, motherfucker, say it. So for me, I was not happy about that one. But it's going to be a lot of people are going to have to find, or companies, if they want to continue to exist or whatever else, and quite frankly, some of them should probably just go to hell and fold up and never come back. But a path out of this, if there is you guys just come out and open book. This is what happened. These are mistakes they made. These people need to go the fuck away. I myself, like, stop trying to hide behind it, uplift the institution and thereby uplift yourself. Some of this shit needs to be cleared out and moved aside for other people to come in and take it over, or for just to all go the fuck away because it was evil in the first place, and fuck it. So that's kind of where I am on it. Like, I am, if the idea is, for people that want scorched earth and for this shit to be shut down, you know what? I might be one step behind you right now.
It's amazing. I had a conversation with a friend of mine that's in the industry, and he had remarked, and we came to the conclusion that not a single black wrestler was named in this, and it was quite a coincidence here. And it was just like, looking at it from Riddle down, like, I think you're talking about like David Starr, Matt Riddle, as far as the top Velveteen. It's just like they never had answers for Velveteen the first time.
Nope.
Really. It was just like,
they're still investigating, remember?
Go away. We're investigating. And now it's like, all right, we've got more screenshots. We've got more stories. Now, some of this stuff was ranging from, like, in the wider spectrum, like when fans are getting involved and everything else. It seems like there's an element of some people trying to shoot their shot, but not like, it's like from that to like Devlin, where it's like, pictures of abuse. It seems like there's some type of spectrum here going on. So I don't think it's all even, like, throw everybody away, but
yeah, like I said earlier, like, there is a space to recognize what certain people did, and there are exit paths from all of that between kick them out the industry altogether to this person needs rehab, or this person needs some fucking soul searching before he can come back, or whatever else. But ultimately, like, this can't just be, oh, let's just go back to work. Fuck that.
Yeah. Now we're talking about somewhere like Shine, where someone like Aria Blake comes out and says, like, the promoter, was running it, and he has these things that are called Sal hugs. So the promoter is named Sal. So a Sal hug apparently is grabbing her ass and kissing her on the head, essentially. Like, and that's like a known thing among the women. Like, and you look at a promotion like Shine, where what were they really doing business wise, like with iPay-per-view or even drawing in between New York and Tampa and maybe Chicago. Those are questions that you got to ask, right? There's just so many, and this is like in these statements of people that are coming out, there are people that are still naming people without naming them. They're putting stories about that have just happened to them, but still being afraid, like, knowing, where this person is in the industry and, in relation to them. Like, it's just too much because, there's big companies behind people now. There's going to be resources to help them fight this stuff. And it's like, it's just really tough. And I, hope that this stops, because this was a lot to, nothing happened to me, nothing happened to James, nothing, but every story that rolled in, it was just like, what the fuck, man? Like, and it wasn't going to stop me from watching wrestling or anything, because like I said earlier, it was like, this isn't a wrestling problem. These are just the people that happen to be in wrestling. If they weren't in wrestling, they'd be somewhere else doing it, where they could, benefit from that power dynamic, or, anything like that. But this, you never expect this stuff.
Like I said earlier, it was just, even back in 2018, I thought that eventually it was going to come knocking on pro wrestling's door. It's just typical wrestling fashion, be years behind on fucking pop culture or cultural events. So there you have it. So we're going to hear, this isn't the end of this. It's going to continue. There's always going to be shitty people inside of every industry. And I
And we're talking about like Dave Lagana. The NWA is on hiatus now.
Yeah, that's right.
Down from that, so we got literally entire companies like probably like having to move around.
Yep. But yeah, you know, if I don't even know about a fucking silver lining out of this, but just hopefully next time, you know, after all this shit is coming out, people, you know, we're going to see like same thing when this COVID stuff is going on, like as far as seeing what companies actually give a damn or, you know, on the, you know, the right side of, you know, humanity for the workers in life and, you know, even expanding out to the broader society. We're going to see like in the future, like from this day forward, like who's doing the right thing and who is just for self and who is out here just trying to uphold institutions. We're going to see.
Yep. And you see this stuff come across the timeline. It's like, believe women. Like, and there's been a couple male wrestlers that have come out. I haven't seen, you know, too many of them, but you know, this is not a thing where, oh, men, this happens to men too. Like, this is not like what we're looking at right now. Like, this is like so imbalanced. Like, yeah.
I mean, we can get into the male victims as well, because like people seem to think that, like, I mean, you just have to look at what was happening with the Catholic Church over the last 25 years as far as stuff being uncovered to know that like fucked up power dynamics can and will result in this kind of nonsense. So Callum Newman, who somebody that me you Rich saw on that Wrestle Talk show right after everything pretty much shut down during the back in March, that had the Will Ospreay and Brie Priestley intergender match on the undercard against David Starr of all fucking people. He came forward and talked about how he started in wrestling young, which makes sense given how good he is already at his age. I think he's like 19 or something. And he talked about how he was like 14 or 15 or something like that, and he got fondled, he got groped when he was by his trainer. Like, so, you know, I don't want to lose sight of like just saying that or pretending like this only is happening to women, because obviously not. People have came forward, but disproportionately this, or overwhelmingly, this is by and large happening to our sisters in this business, and this fucking sick needs to stop. And obviously, you know, that goes for the whole rest of society, but like this seems like a bunch of people preying on this power, these fucked up power dynamics by people that are in power and people that, you know, can draw, or people that are on top in whatever sense, and using that to get around people that they can try to fuck, and it needs to stop.
And it, you know, it's easy to say it needs to stop, like, you know, but I just keep coming back to the point, like, pro wrestling is so ill-equipped to deal with this, like, and it's like it's almost like wishing among like it's like any other fucked up long running institution, like
right.
Wishing for it to stop. Like, yeah, man, I wish fucking you know, white supremacy could end like tomorrow. Like, I wish it could go away, but it's not going away. It's like yo, we're just gonna like, you know, we're just gonna hope people, you know, grow the fuck up or get help or stop doing what the fuck they're doing, because it's clearly unacceptable. It's ruining people's lives, changing them forever, and it's just a fucked up thing to have to like continue going, because I'm sure this isn't new. Like, we got stories going back to the Fabulous Moolah and, you know, stuff that used to happen like back in the days, like with, you know, Vince himself, like, you know, been implicated in shit like this. Like, it's just like, as long as people are in fucked up power dynamics, so like the power dynamic structure needs to like, it's like pro wrestling needs to be regulated, but they're never going to regulate pro wrestling. So this is going to be it. You only hope it gets better.
Yeah. So I don't have any really concrete ideas on how to try to alleviate some of this nonsense, because obviously trying to wish this away out of any particular sector of society is impossible, as you just mentioned before. But one nice start would be start employing women in positions of power. That can curtail lots of this shit. So from trainers to bookers to quite frankly people running promotions, we're going to have to change to be more female, because this is unacceptable. Like, it's, to me, I just find this infuriating. I know I know this is coming from the dude that is considered the quote unquote women's wrestling fan, but this is nonsense. This shouldn't be happening. Not at this rate. Not where you have an avalanche of fucking stories coming out. And I remember specifically, I want to say a couple years ago, I was listening to a Wrestling Observer podcast, and he was talking about the movie The Wrestler, and he talked about how it made Vince McMahon cry when he saw it in a screening. And he said that as far as motion picture movies, he thought it was pretty damn accurate. And then at the time, he was talking to some wrestler, and some wrestler said, like, it's not accurate unless it has 14-year-olds blowing dudes in a tub. In a tub. And he said, yes, it didn't have that in there, obviously, but it's so much better. Well, is it fucking better? Did this week feel like it was better? Has just been covered up and hidden and been covert.
Yeah, like you can imagine like what was happening in fucking Memphis in the fucking 80s, and y'all know exactly who it would have been happening with.
The 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah, like, and this has always been like this is, you know, once an industry that was built on quote unquote servicing the rats. So, and it's like, you know, onto the Cornette part, like, you know.
But here's the thing: if it were just quote unquote serving the rats, which I've read a lot of people saying we need to get rid of that shit, so I'm perfectly fine with getting rid of all that shit. If it was just that, we wouldn't have this problem. Yes, there are women that do want to fuck some of these wrestlers. Fine, leave the people that don't want to fuck you alone. Stop messing with girls.
Yeah. It's and stop being like psychological monsters too, because a lot of that stuff is in play too. I would just like read some of the stuff where they would put out a screenshot that's like a 300-word text message, and it's like the stuff that these men are describing of how they feel, and they're threatening to self-harm and commit suicide unless someone would talk to them. That's mental abuse on like another level. It's like
emotional terrorism.
Yeah, like hold on, you're gonna off yourself, like, and then that just automatically makes the person like kind of give in to you, and it's like, yeah, man, like these folks fucked up, like, so yeah. Hopefully wrestling will open up for you know, maybe we can open up some more demographics here.
Yes, because quite frankly, those are people that can possibly, you know, try to save and clean up some of this bullshit. So to move on to lighter news,
only in a global pandemic, the lighter news.
Yeah. In lighter news, WWE on Monday, right after Raw, had a person test positive that was a trainee in the PC that was attending a week or two ago's sets of tapings. So they tested positive for COVID. This is the second person they've had test positive for COVID. So on Tuesday, when they were going to do sets of tapings, they canceled that day's sets of tapings and postponed them until Wednesday so they could give COVID tests for the first time to their staff and independent contractors.
Disgusting. Like, just disgusting. And then when you hear about the stuff they were actually doing, like the Triple H magic spray, comical.
I knew that was bullshit when they talked about that back in March. I can't remember. Y'all didn't remember this. I remember that and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Triple H?
They literally, the temperature checks, which is like nothing. Like
absolutely nothing.
Like that's as good as an open hand slap to everyone that Inoki slap to everyone that's walking in the door. Yeah, we're gonna slap you to make sure you ain't got it. Well, what does that do? The same thing the temperature checks do.
We know that this is a
billion-dollar company.
Yes. But aside from that, we know that this is a transmissible illness that can spread easily without people being symptomatic for up to 7 days. At least 7 days. Or 5 to 7 days. Right? We knew that back in March. And they still were doing the temperature check as if that meant any fucking thing.
Bro, it sounded like they were trying to be lockstep with the president as far as not actually, if you don't test, you won't get results.
Yeah.
Like,
we knew that then too.
And it was like, well, why wouldn't you test? Right. Until, like, I hate how politicized this thing has become, and if you can't see it, you're not looking hard enough.
Well, gotta remember, just actually on the same Monday is when we found out that because they were bringing for the first time non-essential staff, non-essential in quotation marks, they got people beating on the fucking plexiglass. Non-essential. We had fans. First time they had fans at a WWE show was that same show, and then hour or two later, people that are
magically,
you find out that they were not allowed to go to the taping if they were planning on wearing masks. They were told that if you feel the need to wear a mask, just don't come.
What kind of shit is that?
Like, it's just a double whammy of you find all this out, and also you hear about this second positive COVID test, and then it shines a bright light, which people either forgot or pretended not to remember, or just are so naive to think that like WWE would never treat their, put people in harm's way. And just like people could not believe that they were not getting COVID tests, even though like an alarm's been sounding for weeks and weeks and weeks that they haven't been doing it. Right. And to talk about, just to move to AEW, for example, right? They luckily have a bunch of COVID testing in the same parking lot, right? So they can get that done or whatever else, and they can bring people forth. I still don't like the fact that most of them don't have masks on. I still don't like the fact that they have people at ringside for hours without masks, and they in the wrestling, and then I was a person that was in the camp of none of this shit should ever start back up none of this shit should start back up. If they need to go away for forever long, I'm okay with that. Y'all got TV deals that insulate you. You have force majeure in all these contracts, that the God stuff and all these contracts. Is it worth it? Both of them have decided to pull on ahead and do this. I made a joke to you that AEW, or a couple weeks ago, that AEW should be on the Finesse of the Year award for WWE paying that money to a Trump super PAC, and then it also allows AEW to run as well, because they opened up for, was it live taping or whatever it was, or came after that money that was given to the Trump super PAC. So, but back to WWE. This is just one of these examples of this is why I was on the camp of none of this shit open back up, because I don't trust any of these companies. I don't mean just WWE, any of these companies to handle this shit in the best light to keep as many people safe as possible. AEW is doing better, but what's better? What is better?
I had a comment. I saw Tony Khan has come out and said they're like testing people every, anytime they go in the building, whatever. They talked about BTE, where, they get 2 wristbands. They get one for a temperature check, and then they get one for a COVID test, like every week. And I don't know if you can pay attention on Dynamite. Check people's wrists, and you'll see the wrist bands that I'm talking about. But like, that's what you would think anybody would do in this situation, right? Like, that's not something to like commend, is it? It's like, well, duh, shouldn't you be testing? Like, you make Tony Khan look like he's this hero when it's just like he's doing like what you're supposed to do. He's winning like free. He's winning free points, right?
He's winning free points for just being like borderline responsible.
And then Vince is just like, you know, because it's wrestling, you know, and to so many people, WWE is wrestling. It's like everyone turns their head until there's like, you know, something like another positive test that comes out. And then knowing they have like all these they had Ric Flair in the building on Monday. Why? I don't know. To have him, you know, give Christian a goddamn joint low blow. But I don't know, man. Yeah, WWE like.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like the Ric Flair thing, I had totally forgot about that. It is interesting because Ric Flair was one of the very first like public, you know, more or less wrestling ambassadors to come out and say, "Hey, this shit is serious. I'm social distancing. I'm isolating with my wife / life partner. I think his life partner is not. I don't think he officially got married. It was called a life partner, but they had a wedding, whatever else. But he's like, I'm staying to myself, and this is serious, guys, and everything else. And then, you know, after, you know, it's been months ago because I was back in March, and they brought out Flair's 71.
Yeah,
they brought out 70. Yeah, that's right, 71-year-old Ric Flair. Into that same building we just talked about, where they told people not to wear masks. They told people, you know, and then they sent out a memo, you know, as the show ends or right after the show, saying that like, oh yeah, somebody tested positive. It's like,
what timing? What incredible timing!
Like just the reckless behavior is just like, you know, it's not surprising at all either. It's just like, I can't believe that like these people don't realize it, like, or not realize. I can't believe these people just brazenly are so dismissive and don't care that much. I just can't believe it.
It's like you're gonna have their own top 10 for most disgusting promotional tactic this year.
I mean, they're at the top of this whole COVID thing, but like, I mean, the whole industry is just the whole TV industry of this is just not doing, like, I can't speak for what Impact is doing. I don't watch Impact enough to know what they're doing, but they're running too, just like AEW is running, just like WWE has been running their shows. So how much better could they possibly be right now?
Yeah.
And also another that's specific to us is they're running these shows, AEW and WE. They're running out to PC in Orlando, Florida. They're running out of Jacksonville right now. And Florida had 4,000 new cases yesterday. They went along with 3,000 new cases of positive, or 2 back-to-back days of over 3,100 cases. Like, Florida is in the middle of spiking again, of having a quote-unquote spike compared to after not even really going into a plateau to begin with, because we opened up, relatively
way too early.
Yeah, and it was predictable, and we knew this. And I've stayed masked in my house, and I'm wearing a mask every time I, go anywhere close to another person outside. So obviously, this is some of me being super, overly whatever in my personal life, and then reflecting that upon like decisions they're making. But if you're someone that's even lax about it, it's like, just look at some of the results these other countries have had when it came to people out in public wearing masks. And then look at them on their TV and all these people that they fucking employ and, claim they empower and claim that they want to, become stars, and they have all this, sweat equity built into them and all this stuff. And they're out there with no fucking mask on, nothing to protect them. It's just for me, that was particularly infuriating, and it kind of got lost with all the bullshit that we had to go through and read when people coming forward, just telling us about all these slime balls in this industry over the last couple of days, but like, don't lose sight of this. Like, you have two fucking monsters, so metaphorical monsters, so to speak, going around right now inside this industry, whereas like people just recklessly don't care about people, or that is the story of both of them. It's like they don't care about their well-being as far as their health. They don't care about their well-being as far as their fucking humanity and dignity either.
What a cold show open.
We have everything covered.
Should, unless something pop up in the next 10 seconds here, we can go ahead and start the show.
Yeah. So we'll be right back.
Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Okay, so I guess we're going to talk about Stardom. First show back after the Cinderella tournament at the end of April. New Japan Cup and what was the name of their first show before the New Japan Cup started? Work Together?
New Japan Together Project.
That's what it was. Together Project, yes. We have the Wednesday shows as we normally cover them, and but first we have news of the Undertaker officially retiring, allegedly, but we'll see. Who knows? Because he's talked about backstage about retiring for years, and he's changed his mind. But this is the first time it's ever been like a media news story. So, I mean, I don't know what to make of it. I feel like. I don't really believe it until he just goes, a year or two and he's not around anymore. Like, I see, this is the year 2020. Survivor Series would be a 30-year anniversary thing. I have a hard time imagining Vince McMahon leaving that on the table. But obviously, decision isn't solely his to make. Like, Undertaker's not no do-boy, but Undertaker, through looking at this last ride thing, like, he clearly wants to have a last match in the ring to, wash the taste of, his body betraying him because of age over the last almost decade. So, I don't. If he were to leave it at the Boneyard match, it would be a perfectly acceptable way to say I went out and I had a good ass match. I had one of the very best matches at WrestleMania, maybe the best match at WrestleMania. It wasn't a wrestling match, but it entertained the hell out of people, and you could damn sure say it's the best cinematic wrestling shit they ever done in this company. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Rich?
I've been ready for the Undertaker to get the fuck out of here for years. I've never been like a huge Undertaker person. I like the streak. The streak within the streak, that little, period from like 23 to 28. He's a guy that just looks like like it feels like the tone of this entire documentary has been fucking weird.
Wait, I got a question. Why do you say 28? Why do you not count 29?
Oh, 20. I forgot about 29. But like he got carried like unbelievably in 29. I feel like CM Punk like broke his damn back to make that match great. So
that's one of the best. That's one of the best performances from any wrestler in the last last decade. It absolutely was.
But the tone of the documentary is like the Undertaker's wife yelling at the fans like, you don't know what he's going through to make it back here every year. It's like, look, man, I'm not asking him to come back. He's coming back for the check every year. So you're living on this good check that Vince is, providing. So like, why are you trying to do this to us? Like to try to guilt trip us into wanting another, because like how I look at these documentaries is like, they're all a work. It's all a work. Everyone's working. And it's like he's in search of the one great match, an admirable story, man. But like when you're staring at me on this documentary with a fucking blue line on your t-shirt, it's just like, I'm sorry. It feels like it came at the wrong time, and I maybe sound insensitive to this, but it's like I could give a fuck. Like if the Undertaker comes back again, like it's like, bro, it's been 30 years. You've wrestled everybody. You had this legendary career. You made all this money. If you want to ride off into the sunset, awesome. You should have done it years ago. I'm just like I look at what the Undertaker is contributing every year to the more he just hangs on. It's like this albatross that everyone just kind of has to deal with, and they just signed him to a 15-year deal. Like, didn't that like come out a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, no, not a couple weeks ago. We been knew about that. Like, I think we heard about that maybe even around the time of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like, because remember, when the whole StarCast thing happened, and they pulled him from that, they signed him to a long-term deal, and then I think eventually, like recently, we found out it was 15 years. Recently, or in the last couple months, we found out like the long-term deal trying to be 15 years. We're like, what the fuck are you doing, Vince?
Right,
you're gonna have him wrestle until he's 70? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so I don't think the Undertaker is retired. Like, he'll be back doing something. This is just, I would assume is them just locking up an iconic figure to make sure he's not, used anywhere else. But
right, that's exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I was ready for the Undertaker experience to go ahead and finish up, years ago, as they say.
Look, he is if you think of his last. If it were a time for him to have gone, it would have been 2015. You had the feud with Brock Lesnar. He had kick-ass matches. You put over the top guy in these main events. And, he put over Brock Lesnar in Hell in a Cell, a match that was basically made after The Undertaker. It would have been a poetic send-off. Go away. Now, he's kept coming back for the last 5 years so long that his last two matches have actually been fucking good. Think about that. Think of all the Saudi Arabia, Australia matches that fucking sucked. The WrestleMania farce of a match that they didn't advertise, but you knew they were gonna give it to you all along because they had Cena cutting promos for months after actually not months, but after Elimination Chamber. It's just not limited. I'm sorry, mixing up years, but I think it was after Royal Rumbles when he started calling out Undertaker in 2018. Anyway. If they want to keep willing him out to do these boneyard matches or whatever else, that's the only way I can imagine this is going to be something where he can do something of value. Outside of that, there's nothing there left. He can't get it done in the ring anymore because, of course, he can't. He's 6'8", 6'7", and he's been wrestling for over 30 years. The body and the size is not meant to match up to be able to do that with those kind of hips. He has a reconstructed hip. He talks about, and he only wrestles once a year, and you know how it is when it comes to old timers, and it comes to bumping. Either you need to bump often, or you need to be bumping often, or otherwise it's hell for you to try to come back over and over. And he's not coming back for, to go do 10 minutes, kid. He's coming back to do fucking WrestleMania matches.
Yeah, and it's like the Saudi, like the thing with the Undertaker is like he's come back for these Saudi Arabia shows, which are like fucking terrible from a critical standpoint, from a, they're disgusting that WWE's involved with him, and then you see the Undertaker there, and it's just like, we know you're going over there for that good check, and
he's going out there and stinking the joints out too. Let's not say like you talk about he's surrounded by some trash. No, he's putting some banana pills in there too, like with that slow ass match he had in Australia with Triple H, and then the DX versus Brothers of Destruction, that was abysmal. So
like, that's some real Hulk Hogan in 1998 on pay-per-view energy. That in 1999 on pay-per-view, like that he's been emanating, like with Triple H wrestling all his old buddies from 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Bringing Shawn Michaels back, to do this, and it's just like, like no one needs to see this.
Yeah, so
hollow.
Yeah, it's like if he wants to retire, good for him. Quite honestly, you should have retired a long time ago. I'm not one of these people that believes of the, you're going to quote unquote tarnish your legacy by staying around too long, because that's bullshit. Like your legacy is what your legacy is. His body is work, his body at work. At this point, this is just like turned into some type of weird like back in check charity type of thing, where it's almost like, I really feel like, imagine if like, well, he tragically passed, but like imagine if Kobe was still on the Lakers right now. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those shits where it's like, how much do you need to pay this dude in the back end for stuff you probably should have paid him at the time when he was at his peak? And it's like, if you feel that way, reach into your fucking pocket, reach to your bank account, break him off what you feel like he deserves, and move on.
Yeah,
but as far as putting that in front of us, but as far as putting that out in front of the fans, whatever else, all it's going to do is make people resent the Undertaker. It's already happened. It started years ago.
Yeah, I was on it early. Like, it was just like, yo, I'm ready. Like, and it was just like, it almost was sacrilegious at the time.
Right. But here's the thing. It's all, like I said, it's come back around in the last 5 years when it was almost all bad for the last 5 years, to where like his last two matches have been good. So this is a perfect time to leave off. Don't come back. I would suggest to him that if he's going to retire, actually retire. Do not come back out, especially after making this statement. Do not come back again.
Yeah.
Don't. You're going to make people be like, oh my God, this shit again.
Yeah. And if, and never say never, and if he does come back, they've got to do the best thing they've ever done with him. And what are the odds that WWE in 2020 is going to do that?
And with what is he, 55? 54? 56?
Let's find out.
What was he 50 in WrestleMania 31? Yeah, he's like 55.
Yeah, he's got to be 55.
Yeah, like, nah, man. It ain't gonna get no better. Like once you start replacing fucking hips, and I understand,
yeah, he just turned 55 this year.
Yeah. So he turns his birthday's like right before WrestleMania season. So like, or in the middle of WrestleMania season, like a couple weeks before WrestleMania or whatever. But when obviously he talked about on the Bill Simmons podcast, he talked about how like he got some special type of kind of experimental hip replacement at the time during that Royal Rumble in 2018. Or sorry, 17, right before he had, he wasn't good enough for and fucking made Roman Reigns like a piece of shit at WrestleMania 33. But he talked about like, if I had got the actual surgery I was going to plan to before I got some experimental done, I would have been done. So like, he's already like been doing all these adjustments to prolong this or whatever else, and like, it's not going to plateau. It's only, destined to go down. So like, I would say,
has the Undertaker made some like bad investments or something? Like, is he trying to recoup? Like what the Undertaker's pockets looking like? Like, I hate the pocket watch, but damn.
I mean, he got the 15-year deal. Like, I mean, I imagine the 15-year deal has to do with ambassador work and not just, working, because there's not a chance in fuck you'll ever see the end of that contract. Or maybe, like, the situation is, like, it's enough money for him to, get whatever dates he needed, and now he's done with this, apparently. But, he's found a way to get to where he said he wanted that documentary from what I gathered. So, like, all right, you put it out for the first time to the world. Don't Brett Favre this shit up.
Yeah.
Because there is no 2009 Viking season for him. There is not. There is not one of those. There is not.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just move on to the Wednesday shows. AEW Dynamite. What were your thoughts on this show this week, Rich?
I thought it was a good show. I think I liked this show the week before a little bit more, but I thought the tag team title match was awesome.
Kenny.
I thought the Abaddon Anna Jay angle in the match, I thought it was brilliant.
I thought the angle was brilliant. The match was just some,
Well, yeah,
the match was nothing. The angle was everything.
Yeah. I can pass on the MJF and Billy. I like Ricky Starks showing up, and Ricky Starks actually getting signed here. So,
he signed now officially.
Officially, yeah.
Okay. Look, he got an NWA just in the nick of time.
Look, you see, it had the vision. I like the Bucks match. It was a little bit different than what they normally do, but what else? They have Butcher and Blade. They wrestled Jimmy Havoc. And,
that's right. And
Kip Sabian.
That's right.
Of course, Cage and Moxley had another hot angle or good promos like back and forth.
But hold on. Let's backtrack a second. What do you think of this interaction so far we've gotten over the last, I think it's 3 weeks, I think it's 3 weeks with the Revival or FTR and the Young Bucks. Like, do you feel like it's, or how do you feel about it? Because I expressed to you how I felt about it on or to all the guys in the Social Suplex thread, but like, what are your feelings on this so far?
I think it's okay. I feel like they're clearly building towards them teaming up in like some type of 8-man tag, and they don't want to, throw gas on it yet, essentially, because All Out is a long time away, and I would presume that's where it's going to happen.
Makes sense, yeah.
So like this one is like you're gonna have to retrain, a 12-week build rather than a 6-week build or a 4-week build. Like this one is just like one of those slow paced moving stories. Like, Cody and MJF didn't come out, flying out of the gates, but by the time it got there, it was hot. Like, and we still haven't really got these people really express that much, to the other team. They got about, 10 or 20 seconds to say something to the other side. I don't know if all 4 of these guys are necessarily the most charismatic, like character performers among them. What's going to have to, I think carry the day for this is like worked shooty, not like necessarily like the Cody work shoot stuff, but like we know both of those teams probably feel like they're the best, and they've got to lean into that hard, I think, to just put these people against each other. Like, and I think that's like, going to be what we're looking for. But so far, it's like it still seems like an opening act, like to whatever they're doing.
Yeah. My position on it is that it has done nothing for me. I'm not killing it. I'm not hating it. I'm not saying it's doomed or anything. I just think that it has just left me cold so far. And I understand that it's a slow moving thing, and like they're also trying to play the expectations that you as a smart fan know like the direction they're headed, but like you have to be a bit of not swerving. That's always negative connotation, but like there's got to be some movement, and it can't just be a straight path to get to that, because it's a long ass time, and I don't think you can cut like hot promos for 12 weeks if that is in fact the destination. But I don't know if they were served to be on TV and talk about and around each other, more or less a revival anyway, to be on TV the last 3 weeks or whatever it's been, or 4 weeks, and have been hovering around, and everything is about more or less about the Young Bucks, whether they're saving the Young Bucks or they're talking about themselves, and eventually gets brought to the Young Bucks, or they have to fight the revival, not the revival, the Butcher and the Blade, and then the Young Bucks come out and confront them. I think if it is in fact for them to be a team up thing, that's cool, but like, is the intrigue of it that like everybody knows that it's just a matter of time before one of them fucks the other one? And like, if so, you kind of need to get them together sooner for me to buy it, because you have pay-per-view coming in, or not pay-per-view, a BR live show coming in 2 weeks? It's 2 weeks away, right?
It's not this week. I think it's next week. Yeah.
So I feel like they're. I just feel like they haven't. It feels like they don't know. It feels like they know where they're going, but they haven't like really taken more than one step to get towards it. Even though it's like, all right, so it's not like y'all aren't going to have a match on, Fyter Fest. So like, can we kind of like know what we're up against? And I don't know if it's like more like they're playing their time to get their particular week to get it announced in radio or whatever else. But it's like, it feels like a lot of this, or we don't know what's going to be on what show because it's two back-to-back weekends. But like, it feels like things have already been in place already. So it's almost like, all right, this week probably is like the week to do it. Like, I don't think you want to have the Young Bucks match be like a thing that you get ready like on the go home show going into it. But who knows? Maybe they're just scheduled for the June 8th show July 8th instead of July 1st. I don't know, but it just feels like they're going very, very slow, and like, it makes me kind of just like, it's not that I'm worried about it. It's more like, I don't know why I'm supposed to be interested in this yet. And I'm like, I trust them to get me interested, but like, it still ain't coming yet. And I'm just like, all right, well, I'm sitting here waiting. That's kind of, I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm just waiting for the hook. And I'm like, once the hook comes, I'll be like, okay, I'm in on this. But it's like, I want the hook, and it ain't here for whatever they're going to do eventually in one of these things. So that's kind of my thing, But yeah, you're moving forward to the Cage stuff, right?
Yeah. Brian Cage felt mighty Sid-like in hearing this man communicate. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he was trying to say, but it was just like amazing because it was just so loud. And Taz, more of that energy, put his nuts on the table, small New York man energy.
Dude, when he said him and Cage are out here doing body guy stuff, I fucking howled. Dude, Taz. Now, we were talking about Jake Roberts about a month ago. I'm sorry, February. Like, his work with Archer, and I was saying, like, I don't give a damn how y'all feel, and I feel like last year he's kind of skated, but like, as far as the Observer Award for Best Non-Wrestling Act, or whatever the name of the award is, Best Non-Wrestler, Jake Roberts, that's Jake Roberts to lose. I don't know what is going on at AEW. Obviously, because they're empowering people to be managers, and they're, and these are people that are, veterans, but Taz is fucking awesome at this. I love this so much. And then when they went away from it and came back to commercial break, and it was Moxley's promo, and he was talking about how mad he was that he got jumped, and like, this ain't over, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Dude, like, they are knocking this out the park. Like, I was a little bit concerned once they made Moxley champion, because it was like, he was cutting good promos. He was cutting, like, I felt like he was always getting on base. He was always either, getting singles or he was getting doubles. But like, right now with his cage thing with Taz and interaction, like it feels like Moxie is just coming out here and just stand up doubles like constantly, and it's like it makes me feel like eventually this stretched out triple into the right field, or even a home run is coming, but he keeps getting to the plate and killing on the mic, and Taz is like matching him, and like even Cage, who's the monster, like he's coming out and he's showing his charisma, and he that's not really his thing. Like I'm just loving this thing so far. I really am. Like this is one of my favorite things in AEW like so far. Like it, the whole year or whatever, year and change of AEW, like this is right up there with like for me, like the Jericho, Cody stuff. I'm not saying it's that level. I'm sorry. My personal enjoyment of it is like every single thing they knock out the park, and like it's just so fun so far. So fun.
Right behind the Nightmare Collective.
Oh my god, we're not here to talk about. We're not here to talk about the past. We're not here to talk about the past.
We're talking about baseball.
We talked about lots and lots of the past at the beginning of the show, but not in regards to this. On screen, AEW, we're not here to talk about that past. We leave that past in the past.
So I guess let's just go to the top of the show. The World Tag Team Title match: Kenny Omega, Hangman Page against Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. I thought Kenny and Dustin, like, I really want to see a Kenny Omega and Dustin match, even though they, I think Dustin may have clonked his dome on Kenny's knee or something like that. But QT looked good in this match. Kenny was awesome. This was a really good match, and they did their little alley fuckery or whatever. No.
It was a really good match, but QT didn't look good. He did that fucking Sasuke special. He always makes look terrible, and even Excalibur was like, that was ugly, and I was like, yo, even the positive Excalibur is burying this man's move while he's on a hot streak, in the middle of the match. Like, well. I mean, at least he has credibility. At least Excalibur has the credibility of not being a flat-faced liar.
Did you see his drop kick?
I mean, I've watched so much wrestling. I've kind of
gotcha. Yeah,
who did drop kick? Kenny?
I think he gave Kenny the drop kick.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah.
But they ended up getting the win with the last call. This was a solid. Yes,
when did they start calling it that?
The first match that they had back against Sabian and Havoc, they called it that, I think, for the first time.
Okay.
Another solid TV defense. I believe that's 5 defenses of the tag belts for Kenny and Hangman, and then they're taking on the Best Friends. So, are you trying to think of the 5?
It feels like they've done more. Like, obviously, there's a big gap there when, during the beginning of the but like it feels like there's been more, because I know they, the one they just had, they wrestled the Young Bucks, they wrestled Lucha Bros, they wrestled your boys, Best Friends.
I think SCU got a rematch.
They did.
Yeah.
So that's all 5. I feel like there've been more.
It's like Young Bucks, SCU rematch. This one, Sabian and Havoc. And
did you mention Lucha Bros?
I think I mentioned Lucha Bros.
Okay. Well, yeah, like you named the same people I named, and I felt like there was more than 5, but apparently not. All right. Yeah. Maybe it's just like they've had matches that weren't title matches. I'm just, mixing them up in my mind.
It's interesting. The Elite versus the Nightmare people here in this match. So we'll save that for another day. Then Abaddon taking on Anna Jay. Anna Jay gets the big baby face video package talking about how she had to, fight hard and work harder than she ever did now that she's signed and everything. She comes to the ring, gets a big entrance. Then Abaddon comes out here and crawls to the ring and fucking destroys her.
I had never seen. Is it Abaddon or Adadon?
Abaddon.
All right. Well, you know what? That's a Freudian slip. Adadon is the story of Adadon. I'm sorry. My bad.
You are hiding a child.
My bad. So Abaddon. That's my first time ever seeing her. I didn't know she existed. I don't know where she came from or what her former gimmick was. If I had seen her in the past before, but she came out, and I was like, "What is this?" And she's crawling. Oh, okay, she's gonna be this creepy person, whatever else. I'm thinking, Anna Jay is gonna, get a, fight from underneath, or whatever, and get a win against a monster. No, monstered.
Yes,
the monstered.
So Abaddon actually had a match back in February, I believe, against Carl Shida on AEW Dark.
Okay.
And Abaddon carries a loyal fan base online, to say the least. So yeah, like they are in every comment. They were in every comment section for months. Sign Abaddon, and it looks like they did that too. So what we thought, was like NJ's, getting presented as like, this next big babyface star. They just had a couple injuries,
which they quite honestly need. As far as depth is, like they need to, kind of start building right now with Britt as a heel, but like Britt as the star of the promotion, but like can't wrestle, and then with Stat going down, like they kind of need that babyface, that second babyface kind of, come through.
So Anna Jay like gets destroyed like completely, and I saw it. I was like, this is brilliant. I was like, because they're letting you know ain't shit sweet. Like you see the video package, like, and you just assume, but they subvert your expectations, right? And it's like, oh, so like it's not a sterile show. Like it seems like the matches still have to happen, like rather than what you think is going to happen. Right. Now, the fucking Dark Order comes out.
Well, one thing. Before you even get to that point, everything you just said still applies to before the Dark Order even comes out, because it's like, all right, well, maybe this is a redemption arc. Like, she's not ready. She got her ass whooped by a monster. She's dressed like Zatanna from the fucking DC Comics. Like, like one of the magical people in the comic book world. Maybe this is just like, put you on your ass and you fall and, you get back up, right? And then, like, maybe that still is the case. Maybe this still is a path with me. I don't think she's necessarily just going to turn heel because of the Dark Order necessarily. There's still room to figure this out, and that's the intrigue in it. But Dark Order comes right out there. Dark Order comes out.
Quick with recruiting.
Yes.
Quick.
Yeah, like we
do not play.
Yeah, like I think it's World War Z, where like zombies, like that they're zombies, but like they move fast. They don't move slow. They move like normal human beings, and it kind of freaks you out. It's like, the second you lose, bro, you always have to look to the back, like it's the NWO in the 90s. Like, where's the interference? Comes like, oh no, someone lost. Where is Dark Order? And it's I'm glad that element is back, because like that was one of the things I liked about the Dark Order after they went to the whole incel cult gimmick or whatever else, was like anyone that lost has to look to the back and have their head on the swivel, because they might get attacked or they might get recruited, and if you don't act right when it comes to recruitment, you might get jumped too. So I'm glad that the element is back in here, was like, if you lose, all right, Cabana, keep it up.
You stand too close.
Yeah. Look, what is it? In AEW, there is no room for losers. There is none. This cult will come get you if you lose.
You and that Dark Order zone is back.
All this does is it just adds to wins and losses mattering. It's not just like I want to win to improve my career or chase down this goal. Is I don't want this cult coming after me. I love it. I really do. I really do. And I'm interested to see what they do with Cabana, because I know he's tagging with Brody Lee next week, right?
Yeah.
Who's that against?
Against Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela.
That's going to be really interesting. And we'll still see what happens. What comes to be seen with the Anna Jay part of it.
Right, and and Abaddon's like another like monster. I don't know if she's a babyface. I don't know if she's a heel. We'll see.
But like, she's a monster. We'll see what goes from there.
MJF and Billy. So I feel like they wasted a week with MJF. They did a nice little like 2-week storyline here with Billy, but I just saw MJF have a 4.5-star match with the Jungle Boy on pay-per-view. Just felt kind of just like like a waste. It was just like, yeah, it was like question. Just like, what the fuck we doing here? Like this guy can be doing more than fighting 56-year-old Billy Gunn.
Side question. That's all it is.
Yeah. wasn't my most enjoyable match. It was every fucking gimmick in the book.
Yeah. What I will say is, like, I want Billy Gunn versus Wardlow, though.
I don't know if you want that, though, because, like, Wardlow's not as big as Billy.
He's not?
No, Billy Gunn's bigger than him.
Well, it'll be even more impressive when he beats him inside of like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
have him take the move off the top, the knee.
Yeah. Take the war trigger is what they're calling it, right? Or is that
Right.
something we call it? I don't know.
I think that's something we calling it. But
Okay.
So after the match, Wardlow, MJF, and Jungle Boy, who still hate each other, they had a pull apart brawl with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, and they're finally doing the Wardlow Luchasaurus lumberjack match next week that was advertised months ago.
I totally forgot. I thought they were about to do a tag, but either one works for me.
So all throughout the night, Britt Baker has been just the best. Just entertaining. She had a literal clothesline built, like it was kind of like a pulley device that would send messages up to Shivani, and he was reading them off during the tag title match or whatever. Then
stealing focus from top guys.
Amazing. Then Tony ended up interviewing her, and he started the interview by announcing that Penelope Ford and Hikaru Shida for the women's title was official for Fyter Fest. Britt said that Ford's only getting the shot because she's hurt, and Britt got pissed at Tony and said they're on a friendship timeout. And then, Tony's going to be pissed, or TNC's going to be pissed at Tony for losing the interview. Then Britt told Reba, to roll her away. But then Big Swole, stuck her head around, was like, "Where to, Brittany?" And
was it Brittany or where to, Doctor?
Oh, where to, Doctor? Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
Brittany would have been great because is that one, you already know either one, you know where this is from. It's clearly the Undertaker abducting Stephanie, but whatever. Like, it's a great callback. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Were you worried that, like, I don't know how this whole apparatus is rigged up, but like I hope like Britt don't come tumbling off the top?
Oh my god!
I was concerned. I was like, I don't know how this thing is adjusted or strapped in or whatever else. But like, please don't let nothing bad happen. And luckily, nothing bad happened. So,
then Cody came out for his open challenge. So loads and loads and loads and loads of pyro shoot off inside the stadium. He said the air is thin, is lonely at the top. He said when Hager beat him up last week, he noticed that there were no members of the Elite or Nightmare family came to his aid. Then he wondered if he was still in the Elite or if the Nightmare family was still a family. He began babbling about, something because he clearly lost track of what the fuck he was talking about. And he handed it over to Arn. Arn basically cut a promo. He said, "Time is everything, and the time for the match with Hager at Fyter Fest just isn't right." And nonetheless, Arn said he does have an opponent for Cody tonight, someone who would be a good test that he could test his skills against. And now this whole situation reminded me of a movie that you guys may all be familiar with. It feels like Rocky 3 right here. Cody is out here fighting these setups. Week to week, he fought a geek that won a battle royal that does not have a signature win in the promotion in week 1, and fucking busts his own head to the white meat to beat him. Then he fights essentially the equivalent of a young boy that is a tag team wrestler that has a broke up leg. Correct.
I think that's his first time he had a match, a singles match in a number of
3 years.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, 3 years, knowing the man was injured going into the match, and you would set the match with him anyway. And then this one, we're literally pulling guys off of the streets, James. Like, literally, like, just people, he's fighting tomato cans, and Arn's trying to protect this man because he knows deep down that this man, he ain't really it.
Are you done writing fanfic?
This is what's happening.
So
these
you
are the
really
facts.
think that
like Sinbad? These are the facts.
Well, my question is this: do you think after that performance in that match that like Ricky Starks will not be some type of Impact player in AEW? Because after watching that match, I would make him an Impact player.
Look, this ain't about Ricky Starks. This is about Cody. This man brought in Ricky Starks thinking he was a no one off the street. That's what Arn tried to do.
Okay. I'm glad you retrofitted what you were saying, because now I can rock with what you're saying now. But before I was just like, nah, man. Like Ricky Starks is that's my first time ever seeing him, and he was damn good. Like, I still think that the weekly thing is an issue for me, but Cody is definitely righted the ship with these last two title matches. Like, if he's going to wrestle like this every week, I am more than happy to see him wrestle every single week if he's going to wrestle like this. But that thing he did with Jungle Boy, that can fuck off.
So yeah, I like this match. I thought it was a fine regular match, but there was a video package with Ricky Starks, very good talker. If you've seen some of his videos, I think he has a thread pinned to his Twitter, like Ricky Starks promos. You can go out and watch them. But he put himself as the hottest free agent, put himself over as the hottest free agent in wrestling. Then he came out, and what does this get, James? I didn't think people told me AEW didn't sign black wrestlers. Like, I don't.
That has been a critique, and I'm glad they are working in ways to try to alleviate those concerns. One thing I will say is the Ricky Starks thing. I think it's interesting that he was a former NWA TV title champion, and he immediately goes after the TNT championship that is effectively a TV championship, even though they say it's not. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's as far as the criticism, it's still there, and it's not really going to change until somebody gets a sustained push, or a number of people get sustained pushes over time. Whether it's the Scorpio Sky thing that they pick up and drop, or Ricky Starks coming in right now and seeing where he fits in the pecking order amongst that upper mid card type of thing. How old is Ricky Starks?
He's on that program, that Darby Allin program
in Austin Theory.
That Austin Theory program. We don't know how old he is. I don't think he's 30, but I don't think he's 25 either. I think he's like 28.
Okay. So yeah, I thought it was a really good performance. I can't wait to see what he does in the future. Hopefully it's good things. But yeah, enjoyed the match, enjoyed the last two Cody defenses. I wonder if they are really seriously going to do this next week. Do you know what the situation is next week? Is it announced he's going to have another defense?
Yeah, I mean, he said he's going to be defending the belt. So
I know, but I'm still having a hard I'm still trying to figure out how's he going to do this without burning out or churning through too much of the roster / there being overexposure concerns with Cody, and also just me and Floyd talked about this as far as given the people that he's wrestling, he can't be everybody's signature career breakthrough win, 2, 3, 4 years from now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of tread on, there's supposed to be lots of tread on this Cody tire to be able to do this over the next 5 years. And if he's going to be putting people over in the future over these next 5 years, that's going to hurt his potential power when he already, or his star power when he's already at this level. Obviously he's already a quote unquote star in AEW, so he can eat some L's, but the way this bank account is getting set up is setting up for that man to be 3 years from now, it's gonna be an empty when Darby comes and gets what's owed to him. When Ricky Starks comes and gets what's owed to him. When Jungle Boy comes and gets what's owed to him. When Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, MJF was hey man, there's a lot of giving back you plan on doing, Cody.
Look, that man's record is 13-1 this year. So
I get what you're saying, but he's a top guy, and I'm okay with a top guy having a top record. Moxie has a record that just as good or even better, right?
Right.
But my thing is the thing should be that like some of these career wins should be spread out amongst like having, some of these guys, eventually get a win over Moxley. Someone eventually gets a win over Jericho besides the top guys. Someone eventually gets a win over Kenny whenever he gets, freed in singles, whatever else. You got to spread this out amongst them. Not everybody's, not every, mid-card young dude's career win needs to be Cody. That doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Do you disagree? Or do you think I'm overthinking this?
I think it's just a function of how the promotion's being set up, which I don't agree with.
What do you fundamentally don't agree with?
Cody.
Oh God. Look, man, he's at worst the fourth biggest star in the company. He's at worst the fourth biggest star in the company. I don't really have a problem with him being positioned where he's beating people left and right that are below him. Do I think that him being in the TNT thing and doing it weekly like exposes like exactly what that is? Yeah, that's the reason why I was always been cautious about this. And I'm asking about like the weekly thing. And that's why I always talked about like, how they talked about they're willing to, outsource some of these L's. And I like definitely outsource some of these L's. You can't be beating all these young dudes. But aside from the Jungle Boy one, it's worked so far. The last two have worked for me, so I'm okay with it so far. But
we'll see what's on deck because I know what's over the mountain.
Look, I mean,
Hager.
Hager. Yeah, Hager's a real issue. The issue isn't necessarily Cody as much as it is no one wants to see fucking Cody versus Hager. I'll watch Cody versus Young Boy if there's no fuck shit all day at this point. But Hager, I'm sure I can find that on the network, on the WWE network somewhere. I'm sure I can. On a main event or a superstar or somewhere. I'm sure I can.
Yeah, good times.
Or the bottom of an hour on a Raw.
Yeah, it's gonna be the bottom of the hour at Fyter Fest, depending on what's booked. So, Young Bucks against Superbad Squad. I think it went a little bit long, but I think I was looking around. A lot of people liked this match. I thought it was okay, but I like my fast-paced Young Bucks matches more than their more cerebral matches.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like I was thinking to myself, like, what happened in this match? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Matt was selling the back and the ribs. That's right.
Yep. So I think Nick Jackson may have dipped into his hair in the fountain of regeneration.
He's on the Kazarian. He's on the Jericho.
Look, I'm saying, like, I remember the first time I saw him looking weak was like Fighting Spirit Unleashed 2018, right?
wait. Time out. 2018. Is that the Cow Palace show?
No, that's the Long Beach show after Dominion.
Okay.
So the first time I saw him looking weak was then, right? He looked strong this week.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Good for him.
So I don't know what happened, but he looked strong this week. That's all I'm gonna say.
Good for him.
But Matt and Nick ended up getting the win with the stereo kind of Kamigoyes. They called it the BTE trigger, but let's see. The Butcher and Blade, of course, jumped them after the match. I'm digging the Butcher and the Blade's all white look still.
Hipster Butcher is like ridiculous to me.
It's hilarious.
Because it's like, one, he's wearing a 9-inch nail shirt, which like that is so 90s. He has the glasses and the beanie on.
The absurd mustache.
Right, it's like either
gimmick, whole gimmick.
Like, look, it's a gimmick that it's a gimmick on top of a gimmick because in theory he still looks like a butcher, but he looks like a butcher from Brooklyn, gentrified Brooklyn. Now, it's really interesting what he's doing, and I'm trying to figure out if this is intentional or is this or what is going on.
Right.
Ever since this whole white thing, I'm kind of been I want answers, but I don't know if I want answers enough to where that should get TV time. You know what I'm saying? I kind of want there to be a BTE skit and that you tell me about where they explain what the fuck's going on. That's kind of what I want. Wow. But I don't want to watch BTE either. But but I'm interested to see what's going on. I don't. It's really just silly. Like all they did was call it white, but it's like wait, I don't. What happened here? There's no change in the gimmick either. They're still like bad guys. That's why it's funny to me. It's like, what's going on? You guys are like geeks.
So the Bucks hit the blade with the Undertaker at the same time. FTR did the spike pile driver. So kind of that small underlying, like, hey, maybe we're not that much different than we think. We both have these similar type moves. Even though the Bucks could have done the Meltzer driver and put that shit to shame, but they chose the Undertaker. Then of course we got that Taz and Brian Cage stuff we talked about earlier.
Body guy stuff,
awesome,
just the best.
I saw Brian Cage talking about how much he was a fan of Canyon, and it makes perfect sense because Canyon, the innovator of offense, and
yes. The innovator of offense that has no like storytelling whatever. I'm just out here to do moves.
Moves, baby.
Moves on top of moves on top of moves. Don't get me wrong, the moves were nice, but it's like, all right, what was the story of the match? We just did shit, bro. Like when people, it's funny because like you hear, I hear Cornette is shat on the Young Bucks and this generation for the video game wrestling. It's like, where were you when Kane was out here in '99 going ham? Where were you? How come you didn't save the date then? Why didn't you get on the phone and call? Or I don't know if he had a good relationship with Laurinaitis at the time when Laurinaitis was, coming off of All Japan and doing some of that producing or whatever, agenting. But it's like, how come you didn't reach into your resource and say, hey, you need to tell this asshole to calm down on TV right now? I never heard. I don't think I've ever heard him talk about Kanyon, but Kanyon was
inventing.
Yeah,
out here. Inventing,
he certainly was doing something new. He certainly was.
Yeah. Then they talked about next week they're going to be doing Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy next week. Brody Lee and Cabana against Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, Wardlow, and Luchasaurus. FTR versus Natural Nightmares, and John Moxley is going to be in action, so that's probably a squash match. Then we found, we got an update of Britt Baker. She was in the trash. She was basically just, doing more comedy with Reba in the trash, or Rebel. She says she's going to sue Big Swole and beat her if it's the last thing she does. So I'm just glad she didn't call the police on Big Swole. So
there's that. And I'm glad that they're picking this back up. They were doing that stuff, months ago, back when there were still audiences and, Swole wasn't around at the time because of, the beginning of the quarantine stuff, and I was wondering if they were going to pick it back up, and I'm glad they have.
Then, of course, we got Best Friends taking on Jericho and Sammy Guevara, and they ended up getting the win, to retain their tag team title shot at Fyter Fest. So we're getting Best Friends against Hangman and Kenny. This match was okay. I thought that Sammy was awesome. Very awesome.
This is the most heelish thing that the Orange Cassidy's ever done. It was the most heelish thing he ever done. We could have gotten Jericho and Sami Zayn and Sammy Guevara versus Hangman and Kenny Omega. Maybe the idea is we put a kibosh on that and we put that little idea in your brain, and we'll eventually do that at some other actual pay-per-view. But that would have been so fun. That would have been so fun to watch, but it wasn't in the cards, apparently.
So we get the Best Friends.
They're going to have a hell of a match.
You know what the Best Friends are? SCU. They are
another version of SCU.
No. SCU is way more, to me, way more exciting, way more engaging.
Wait. You mean in this last 6 months?
Just
or
overall.
Just in general? In general, I agree with you, but the last 6 months, I think, it's kind of close.
It feels like SC is they're just green beans, or excuse me, the best friends are just green beans. Like we have to have some green beans here with this, and it's like, okay,
look, man. I mean, we had the match with Kenny and Trent, a couple months back, and that was a great match. And like, honestly, we know that's going to carry most of the day with this match. And like, it's not like Chucky sucks or is bad or is even average. He's a good wrestler, and like Hangman's a very good damn wrestler. So it's like, I think we have a great match. Do you think? Like, obviously, it's like, I know your feelings. Like, it leaves you cold, but like ultimately, like they're gonna kill it.
Yeah, like, it's gonna be fine. But like the best friends don't excite me. Like,
I get you. Because obviously, the most important, the draw is actually Orange Cassidy.
Look,
he has to worry about Jericho.
Right. The best friends bore me. But yeah, what's his name? Orange Cassidy was dressed up as a cameraman the whole time.
And we knew it the second you saw that reach to the ring, you're like, oh, he's a cameraman.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he comes out, and good for them, whatever.
Yeah. And the angle they did at the end, Orange Cassidy beat Jericho down. They announced the match. Yep. So, yeah, that was it. It was an all right show. I didn't think it was as good as last week, but it's still, pretty good overall.
Yeah. So, as far as NXT goes,
woohoo!
What?
I'm just thinking about the vomit.
Yeah. Now I heard about the vomit, but the vomit in context, I don't hate it. It's bottom. It's jobber shit. Who cares? Like, it's for Aaliyah versus Xia Li.
It's a pandemic.
And he's spitting all over the ring.
That's true. That is true. That's absolutely true.
That's the first thing I thought when I just saw the spitting. I'm like, and this is fresh off the news of WWE having to test people or whatever for the fucking first time or whatever.
Well, you gotta remember, right? Like that show wasn't in the can. That was a show that was taped. That show aired live. That show was done live. So like they had actually got their testing the day before. So like, I get what you're saying. Like, if this had been a tape, you'd be like, "Oh my god, you guys!"
I feel like the timelines are like,
I get you.
It's all blended up now. I don't know what's live. I don't know what's taped.
You have every right to not trust them. So it doesn't matter. I get why you're like that, but like, yeah, the case is like they actually had got those COVID tests for the first time the day before this actually happened. But it's still spitting into the fucking ring, and I know they changed the mask between every single match, but whatever. Anyway, I
don't know why I'm tripping. They're just going to use some of the Triple H magic spray anyway, so like it'll be fine.
Yeah. So. My general thoughts on the show was the non-wrestling stuff, like the stuff that was done outside of, like the promo stuff was all very, very good on this episode. I don't know, given what we've seen, I don't know and quite get why, aside from Sasha and Bayley coming back and for a title defense, I really don't know why this show did so well viewership-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the pattern to see how it held up, but I know that it did win the main event against AEW. But like outside of that, like because they say most of these shows that have, even if it's good, non-wrestling stuff, like it will still lose ratings.
People will tune out, yeah.
Right, but like but this stuff had a lot of really good non-wrestling stuff, non-match stuff, but. So it's held up, which is like, I don't know if it's just people, because of this government telling everybody to go back to your regular lives in spite of this health crisis. If that just means people are just going back to the pre-quarantine watching habits, I don't know. But it is weird. It's like the Wednesday shows are getting back their audience, but Monday and Friday ain't getting their audience back. Quite interesting. Interesting. It might be that people going to go back and watch some good shit. I don't know. But the show opens with NXT tag match between Imperium versus Breezango. Pretty good match, nothing to really like write home about. Indu Shear with Michael Bivens come out towards the end of the match. The Oni and Lorcan fight those two at the on the floor to stop the interference. You get Fandango does a flip dive onto them, the old Seth Rollins, and then he gets back. Then Breeze gets in the ring and rolls up in all the ridiculous stuff, like rolls up the wrong guy. If we got like who the legal man was, the right legal man ended up getting the pin. So champs retain and still. Let's see. You get Velveteen gets interviewed. They ask him about, Tom Phillips asks him, hey man, like, you can never be NXT champion as long as Cole's champion. What's your next move? Dream pulls he does another. Dream has the memory of that. And talks about.
I bet Velveteen got no memory of a lot of shit.
I bet he doesn't. And then while he's sitting on the couch, the purple couch, I almost called him Sam Shaw. Loomis comes behind him and he's been drawing these pictures, right? He comes behind him and lays a picture of them next to each other holding the tag belts. And then Dream looks down and sees it after, wasn't paying attention. It's like, don't get this twisted. This is not happening. Like, I know he helped me and I helped him in a match, but like, this is not a thing. And it's like, they're clearly doing the Rock and Sock connection. They're clearly doing, obviously Loomis isn't as lame as Mankind is for The Rock to bully him, but like, that's clearly what they're doing. They're doing an odd match where like, dude is too cool for school that wants to hold against him. Eventually they're going to, come together. And like, you look at what I just said with Breezango, Imperium, Indu Shear, and Oni and Lorcan, is like, of course they're making them the tag champs. Of course. Yes. We're not dumb. Like, think about it. Like, what were they doing?
They about to have Imperium carry them niggas, and then lose to them.
Right. And then it's also like, we know what you were planning on doing this division for this, this time of the year when you had Riddle and you had Dunn, but then the COVID happened and Dunn had to go away. Like, you're clearly just like, all right, well, let's make another, star drop top guy with another person or whatever else and make an odd pairing. You're clearly just doing that again. And they're going to rely on the charisma of Velveteen Dream, how they rely on the charisma of Riddle at the time. That's clearly what they're headed. Go from there. Damian Priest shows up. He pulls up to Full Sail in a Dodge Challenger, and I'm just like, that ain't your car. That is not your car. This is not. He pulls up. He parks it. In the background, you see Cameron Grimes look and see him get out his car, and he's like, you see him doing something mischievous. So he like makes a face or whatever else. They don't point it out. You just see it in the background, which is good on them. Priest fights Killian Dane.
So how did Damian Priest turn babyface?
I told you, Rich, that was happening. I told you. Did I not tell you that they're going to turn babyface off of the quote unquote performance at In Your House? I told you, didn't I?
Bro, that is such a lame as fuck. Like, nigga, I don't care about your moment of wrestling Finn Balor on a fucking takeover.
No, not even that, Rich. He attacked Finn Balor in storyline, then attacked him in the middle of a Grimes match with a nightstick, and then he fought Finn Balor. Finn Balor beat him justly. They had a moment where they both do their pose in front of you like it's a video game taunt simultaneously, and then now he's a babyface or whatever else. That's exactly what happened. So in the middle of the match,
dumbest booked shit I've ever heard. Like, why? Like, there's no moment of like where he was conflicted. Like, the manager wasn't stealing his money. There wasn't a more evil heel to come along. Like,
this is what it is. He turned babyface because when he punched Cameron Grimes, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? That was his babyface turn. That's super duper weak and sucks, but that was his babyface turn in their eyes.
The hated heel, the reviled Cameron Grimes just had to have somebody put him in his place.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You got to remember, this company and this booker and that family thinks that being a babyface or being a good guy is when you beat up people when they're at weak points. Like, you remember the when Rhea threw Robert Stone in the trash can a couple weeks ago, or last week actually, I think it was. Threw him in the trash can when he was desperate and was a drunk or whatever. I was talking about, like, we're both down on luck right now. It could be me and you, Rhea, and you said, yeah, it could be me and you. Come walk with me, and then threw his ass in the trash. Why? Because that's how Vince McMahon sees himself, and he thinks that's what people like. He wants winners, and winners are bullies. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. And we've been talking about this with Vince McMahonism for 20 years in professional wrestling. That's the reason. And look, and the reason why I slid, we talk about all this stuff when they make these mistakes, because The Rock got over Raw being an asshole to Kevin Kelly and Michael Cole and Coach for all them years. Because it was The Rock. Stop relying on The Rock's exceptionalism to band-aid and make you think that was the game plan. No, he made that bullshit work. So
they only learn those lessons. They don't learn any of the other ones.
Right.
Why don't they watch Dusty Rhodes turn babyface or something? They got the fucking video because motherfuckers went crazy for that shit. Like,
but Rich, you got to remember that wasn't their idea, so they never want to go with it. No matter if it works or not.
Watch how they turn the fucking Macho Man babyface, like at WrestleMania 7, figure some shit out,
But Rich, that takes a bit of time that, like, they just don't have anymore. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand you're like, think of this guy, this dude, created Hulkamania. This dude created the Macho Man. This dude helped create Ultimate Warrior. This dude helped create Austin, John Cena, Batista, all of that. I get exactly what you're saying. Even Daniel Bryan, he helped create. He fucked it up until he corrected course going into WrestleMania 30. I get what you're saying. One, that guy is no longer here, and all these specific moments are like these moments that they think like these are now the rules, supposed the exceptions when we made mistakes and we had to course correct. Look at Becky Lynch.
Yikes!
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we are.
Like ultimately, at the end of the day, it's fucking Damian Priest on the NXT, but it's just like this is a microcosm. Like no one fucking cares. Like why do I cheer him now?
Yeah, because a good wrestler because a very good wrestler had a great match in like story wise, character wise, nothing was built towards that. Like he went into the match as the heel and he comes out like losing violently in a match that he gunned for by beating up the guy and the guy sent him packing. No, fuck him. He's an asshole.
That man's actually a LeBron James You Bum of the Week candidate, actually.
for that back then, yeah, a couple weeks ago. Yes, absolutely. But then anyway, in the match, he starts the match out and immediately, because remember that spot he had on the steel steps, he sells the back. He worked from underneath the whole time. He comes through and eventually he ends up winning. And another thing of note with Damian Priest, because remember he was doing the Razor Edge a bunch.
Yeah.
In your house match, we were like, it's clearly a play on Razor Ramon. He came down to the ring with a leather vest, a black leather vest, and he had like, remember the blood, the outsider blood at the top of the vest on Razor Ramon. It was just gray. It was dark gray, but they're clearly positioned him as, like we talked about, you're Latino and tall. Just like, we had Scott Hall / Razor Ramon playing Latino and it was tall. But like this
and it's Triple H, you're like Hall. Like, oh my God, Triple H is the worst.
Oh man. Yeah, so let's see where I left off.
He'd be looking at Johnny. You're Sean.
You stupid. So they come back to commercial break.
Look at Ciampa. You're me.
Oh my God. So they come back to commercial break and they show a replay of Killian Dane after losing the match, walking back up the ramp. And side note, it's interesting that like about a year ago this time he was beating Matt Riddle. Remember that?
Yeah, Killian Dane.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. So fast forward back to what we were talking about.
I ain't ever got nothing to do with him.
Yeah. So Would you on your own? I wouldn't.
No.
I just have him. He's look monster that you beat along the way. For babyface. So anyway, as he's walking back in frustration, he punches one of the plexiglasses, and the plexiglass he punches is Robert Stone drunk off his ass. It almost like in a basically he's asleep drunk, leaning against the plexiglass, and he punched it and it woke him up, and he's like disheveled, his shirt's halfway open, hair's a mess. It's a further continuation of ever since Chelsea left him, he has basically turned into a full-on alcoholic down his luck person. And honestly, like, comedy-wise, it is hilarious because he's doing a good job making it look funny as opposed to sad. So out comes Xia Li. It hasn't been happening long enough for it to become it actually is, as opposed to
keep him away from Jeff Hardy.
Oh my god! Why am I laughing about this? This is terrible. Okay. Anyway, Xia Li comes out. It is Xia Li versus Aaliyah again.
Nigga, how long have they been feuding, nigga?
Since like November. Since November. They've had like 4 matches since November.
Never end.
Anyway, so Aaliyah comes out. Remember, Aaliyah was desperate to be in the Robert Stone brand when Chelsea was there. So Aaliyah comes out. They show Robert Stone basically on the floor, passed out, like in the corner. And as she comes out, she looks to her right and sees him, and she's like, "Get your ass up. Come to ringside with me." They have the match. Xia Li is so much better she has any right to be. And it made me think of like Xia Li, Casey, and Caden Carter. Not Cross, Caden Carter. And it made me think of like, if they were in Japan, or if they were somewhere where they could get like 75 matches a year, they'd be so good. Or if they were in AEW, they'd be so valuable in AEW right now as people that are like TV quality workers right now, but they're prelimers in this division. And I don't know if they'll ever break through because they're all, short.
They all fighting each other. Or they all fighting Aaliyah.
They're basically all in that the bottom of that prelim division. I don't see them ever breaking through. Like, they have a vignette later in the show for Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah, and she gonna leapfrog them immediately, right, as she should.
And even before that, like when the one time they had one of the times they had Mercedes Martinez on, like she beat the hell out of Casey Catanzaro. She beat her ass. Right? So it's like they're not gonna go back on that. Like that.
You know what? They should build up Mercedes as EO's next challenger.
I think they're gonna put her in there, and she's gonna eventually get takeover matches, whatever else. Like, I think she easily can slide into upper mid card, possibly a gatekeeper type of person. But yeah, so they have the match. Xia just crisp striking as usual. Looks really good. Looks really confident. They do a spot with the vomit or whatever else, and then Xia Li gets schooled Boyd. She kicks, and then the lead turns another cover and actually gets to win off that. And I guess they're bottom of the barrel Robert Stone brand, but like Robert Stone tried to celebrate on the apron after that happened, and he fell off the apron because he's like, you have to see it. Like, I know it sounds terrible, but it is kind of funny, and it's not to the point to where this is real alcoholism as opposed to this is down on the loser right now. Anyway, moving on from there. Okay, they do a vignette where last week they Thatcher said we're going to do Thatch as Thatch can wrestling.
What?
Listen, Rich. If you listen, they show him with a bunch of PC geeks, and he shows them submission wrestling, and he says,
So he's Stu Hart now.
Kind of. And it was fun. Kind of. He's like, this is a Fujiwara armbar. You see where I have it now? This is where, at this angle, this is where you start to feel pain. But if you re-grip and adjust your hips, you can get the angle higher. The dude starts tapping out, right? He said, but if you really want to get good at this, you extend even further. Dude starts tapping furiously or whatever else, right? So then he starts doing this is a double wrist lock, Kimura. He's like, if this is like the angle where it gets really bad on the shoulder, but if you are able to wrap your leg around this arm, you can get more leverage. Dude starts tapping out, same thing, and he's like, those are just two. Come back, y'all. Clearly, that was just a warm up. Come back and stop crying or whatever else. And then the people, like the young boys, start walking off. I thought, like, he's such a bully asshole. It, like, in a way, like, this is something that they would have done for Chris Benoit back in the day. That's how much like obviously the connotations of, you know, the murderer guy. I'm talking about before the murderer stuff. Like, this was very impressive. Made you think like. Is you know what's kind of like? Remember, are you Tyler Bates? It was very similar to the Are you Tyler Bates? It's like just beat up young boys. So you can get over beating up young boys. It's been proven in NXT.
So are they gonna have to drop this immediately because like they're showing abusive trainers?
No, he's a bad guy. Keep beating up these punks.
So like this is like his Gagne metrics, you know.
This what?
Gagne metrics.
What's that?
Well, so it's a little bit different, but Vern Gagne, it's on the WWE Network. Vern Gagne had this workout system called Gagne metrics, where he would tell people how to work out, essentially, and then it's like all black and white. Yes, or like he would have people working out like just functional strength shit, like pushing up on door, like the openings of doors and shit. Like for like if you hold it and push up for like 45 seconds, it's a full body workout or some shit like that. Like you have to see it. It's hilarious. Yes, it's like his version of Jack LaLanne or whatever. God. So Gagne metrics, like plyometrics.
Bro, is Jack LaLanne still alive?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, he was up there. Like last I checked, he was in like his 90s. I don't know. I ain't finna Google it. He probably never mind.
I will check.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like he probably did. Then that's terrible. Like,
LaLanne died in 2011. James.
Wow. How old did he die at?
He was. Let's see.
Riveting radio. I don't know if people real this stuff.
Yes. He was born in 1914, died in 2011, so he was 97 years old.
Yeah, I told you, Jack LaLanne was up there, bitch. Yeah, man. R.I.P.
He's really up there.
Oh wow. Eating right in heaven. So yeah, so then we get Undisputed, and Undisputed is doing this thing where like Roddy is still shook over the Loomis shit from getting thrown in the trunk in your house, which makes no sense to me because. Fish was also thrown in the trunk too. Fish doesn't give a fuck. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm too old for this shit. Like maybe that's what it is. I'm too old to be scared of this bullshit. Whatever. But they're like, look, man, we gotta get you right, Roddy. We gonna take you to see a therapist. So they sit him in the therapist's chair, and I don't know why Cole and Fish are allowed to attend like Roddy's therapy time, but he's there.
The HIPAA violation,
right? I mean, it was a HIPAA violation if like he didn't agree to it. But yeah, it's like all three were sitting in a session, and then all of a sudden, the therapist pulls down the book, and it's just O'Reilly.
What the fuck?
So he puts on this goofy ass voice. I can't remember his name. I can't remember the fake name he gave, but like he basically is like, look, man, like he's basically trying to help him out, and he's like, all right, well, you know, because Roddy's laying on the couch, so you can't see him. Clearly, what they're doing is
they're trying to trick this man.
Those three are but also like camera wise, those three are in one room, and then you know. O'Reilly is clearly still not, you know, because diabetes is not allowed to be there. So like he's on a different. He's pretending to be in the same room, but they're not in like they're coming back and forth. So he's like, all right, well here's these Rorschach tests. Tell me what you see in these ink block tests. So he sees one is like, looks like, somebody flexing their arms. So the next one you see is basically like, it's a picture and then you see like eyes, like intense looking eyes, and he's like, it's Loomis. And then the next one is like an ink block test and you see a trunk. And he's like, it's a trunk. He's like, and then like Fish and Cole like, bro, you tripping, relax. It's not no fucking trunk. He's like, you know what? Aversion therapy, fuck this. We're gonna put you in the trunk so you can get over your fears. So they take him outside to the limo. They lift the trunk up. They try to get Roddy to go into the trunk. Roddy takes a 180 and just starts sprinting out through the city of Orlando out of there. I didn't like that part, but like the part where you have fucking imposter O'Reilly maybe howl. So then from there, that's how I'm talking about like these segments and not the matches.
Yeah. It sounds like the main roster.
Good point.
Thought it was no BS.
Oh yeah. So before all of this, basically they shot this thing where one guy comes out, another guy comes out, another guy comes out, another guy comes out. Cole comes out, talks about 380 something days. Out comes Keith Lee. Keith Lee wants a title versus title match. Cole says I want the NXT, I want the North American title back too, to be double champ, because everybody wants to be champ. Out comes Gargano. He said, I pinned you last week in that tag match where I did dastly thing and where I dropped DDT on top of my wife. I don't give a fuck. I want North American title shot. And he's in the ring and he sees Cole. He's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting another piece of you too. So then out comes Finn Balor. Finn Balor says, I told you last week I want a shot at your title, Keith Lee. I've done everything to do it in NXT. I want the NXT North American title. And then he looks in Cole and says, you know what, then again, and after I'm done getting that title, I'm coming after your title. I still owe you one. So out comes, so Keith Lee replies to Gargano, you're a real bastard for this, all this nonsense, what you did last week. It was disgusting. Like, I picked up your wife in her lifeless body, and I was panicked, and you know what she said? She whispered to me. You know what she said to me? She said, I haven't been touched by a man like that in years. Something along the effect of that. Johnny gets hot. Then all of a sudden, everybody like about to start fighting. On the Titantron comes Regal. Regal says, North American triple threat match, Johnny, Finn, and Keith Lee. Whoever wins that, the next week after that, or 2 weeks after that, double title match.
Why can't they just do a double gold dash? So
they don't have enough worthy people for a double gold dash.
So, but they have the same amount of people. They have 4 people that they have involved in this.
Okay, hold on. Johnny Gargano has less stakes to a double gold dash at this point than Tetsuya Naito did. I'm dead serious. Johnny don't deserve a goddamn thing.
So after they've bastardized the triple threat match in NXT the last 2 times they've done it with fucking goofy finishes. So is the finish to this match going to be, Adam Cole, or excuse me, not Adam Cole. Johnny Gargano has Keith Lee in the Gargano escape, and Keith Lee is pinning Finn Balor. Is that what's going to happen on this one?
Nah, they're just gonna pin Gargano and move on.
What the fuck, man? I'm tired of these triple threat matches. Go to hell.
Yeah. Also, while this happened, before all that happened backstage, they had Adam Cole stare at the hourglass. Keith Lee walks up and says, "Time waits for no one to smash the fucking thing." They cut backstage, show Scarlett looking at the shattered glass, and then they clearly show what's your boy's name? Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name right now. Cross. Yeah, they show Karrion Cross step on the glass, meaning he's clearly coming for Keith Lee because he's pissed about breaking his fucking precious hourglass that he gave away. Whatever. So he's gonna run into the triple threat, cause Keith Lee not to get pinned. Lee drops the belt to Finn Balor or whatever. By Balor pinning Gargano, and then Keith Lee gets pulled in some other shit. Wait, so you're saying Balor becomes champion?
Yeah.
If that happens, it will happen in that scenario, but it would not have. I can't imagine a scenario where they make Johnny North American champion again. I can't imagine it. Yeah. So anyway, I I think what's really going to happen is what I think is going to happen. Keith Lee's going to pin Johnny Gargano, and then they're going to have a title versus title match, and that's how they get out of beating either one of them.
You can do that.
Coming out and interfering and attacking. He comes out, looks like he's going to be attacking Adam Cole at first, but then he attacks Keith Lee instead because Keith Lee broke his precious little hourglass that he gave away. That's what's going to happen.
So when they're counter-programming Fyter Fest, that's the brilliant finish.
Is this happening at Fyter Fest?
These are going head-to-head, like, week after week, like the NXT title match, the belt versus belt will be on the 8th.
Wait, these aren't Wednesday shows. These are happening on. Wait, hold on. Is Fyter Fest happening on a Wednesday or Saturday?
Fyter Fest is Wednesday. Like it's July 1st and July 8th. That's why they cooked this whole scenario up.
Okay, I thought
at the last minute.
I thought you were saying as if like they're doing all this hot shotting to get to some magical Saturday show that never existed. Okay, all right. Okay, I get you. I'm still watching Dynamite first.
Like, bro, no one's thought about the NXT and the North American belts coming together. They haven't made it a point of contention of who's the better champion. Nothing. Like, it's just
not since In Your House. Like, it's clearly just to do that to fuck with AEW, like usual. So let me fast forward. Oh yeah, so then basically. You end up getting the Dakota Kai versus Caden Carter. After some interference, ringside is Raquel. Caden Carter's cornered by Casey Catanzaro. At the end, Dakota Kai wins after some interference from both sides or whatever else. So at least Dakota Kai beat somebody. Good for her. She's all the one she can get. Oh my God. They showed the vignette for Mercedes Martinez, said she's on the way. Bronson Reed versus Leon Ruff. Oh my God. Remember how I said like early on in the first few weeks of watching NXT UK how much I enjoyed Mastiff squashes?
Yeah.
I love these freaking Bronson Reed squash matches. Bro.
It's only going to be one of them.
Trucked him, Leon Ruff, sentoned him, landed all on his chest, all the weight landed on him, and then splashed him, and they both of the bodies bounced up off of the mat, and as the boards quaked underneath the impact. It was fantastic. So Bronson Reed gets on the mic and says, Karrion Kross, you fucked with me a couple weeks ago or whatever else. You gave me a Saito suplex. I want to smoke next week. And then he picks up Leon Ruff and carries him to the back, let you know he's actually a good guy. Then you end up getting the main event.
About to get destroyed next week, bitch.
NXT, yes, he is. NXT, but at least we can get to see, Hoss fight. At least we get to see that. Like, he gonna get some licks in. That's gonna be a fun little match. Fun little 5-minute match, but it's gonna be a fun match. So then you get Sasha and Bayley versus Shotzi and Tegan Nox. They had a good match. It was paired off with Tegan versus... I'm not blanking on who was paired off. It doesn't matter. Good match. Very good match. Probably like 3.5. End up from there. You end up at the end. You end up getting Sasha slapped on the bank statement on Shotzi. They celebrate, and then all of a sudden out comes Io. Io just like comes out of nowhere and hits a springboard drop kick onto Bayley. She lays out Sasha. She gives them both running knees in both corners, and then she lifts up the NXT belt after those two scram out the ring and says, "This is my NXT." So we're gonna get Sasha or Bayley versus Io or both. I don't know.
You thought that was an angle?
Huh?
You thought that's an angle?
What else could it be?
You know what it is. It is nothing more than, oh shit, we brought some main roster people in here to beat our NXT people again, but we need to have us go off the air looking kind of strong and send them running. So we'll have Io go out there and, and run them off because,
I like
that. It's a classic, like, WWE does this all the time when they want to run someone off and then make them look strong. Like, I don't see no angle coming out of this.
Where someone, but this was random. Like, Io had nothing. They never had any interaction.
Like, because she fought off, the NXT, saved the baby faces or whatever, and defended the NXT from the evil main roster. And there you go. And that's how Sasha Bayley put them over.
But there wasn't no fend off. Like, it wasn't like they continued beating them after they already got the victory. It was like they beat them, they celebrated in the middle of the ring, and then all of a sudden Io starts drop kicking them.
Because Io is the winner of the segment. Like, they put her over in the match, like Sasha and Bayley. They bring the main roster people in to beat them over, but the person standing on top, going off the air looking strong is Io Shirai.
Hey, maybe you're right, but in my mind, I'm thinking but then again, that's not what they would do with Charlotte. But then again, they treat Charlotte a lot better than they treat Sasha or Bayley. So you might have a point. You probably have a point. But what I will say is, I until this conversation, I was optimistic of seeing, a Sasha and Io match before Vince make sure that never ever happens. So thanks, Rich. You got my hopes up. You crushed my hopes. I rarely ever hope or dream on this fucking show, and you dashed it in seconds.
Nah, because that's what.
Thanks, Rich.
It just screams out
anyway,
let's make sure
right.
NXT looks strong.
You're right. Leave me alone. That's the end of NXT. New Japan Cup.
Yeah. So that first show they had, it was just it was a show. It was a Road 2 show. And then the New Japan Cup matches started happening. I all the days pretty much, except, I thought Yano and Jado was abhorrent.
Get to us so we can get to the good stuff. Fast forward through the rest of these first 2 days of New Japan Cup so we can get to the two great matches we want to talk about. Get to it. I can't wait to talk about these matches.
I don't remember them all, but there's there's a lot of stuff for completionists if you're looking at it. Definitely check out Yota Tsuji and Uemura, their work. Who else? Hiromu and Hanma, I like that match a lot. Okada and Jado had me wondering why the fuck we actually needed Jay White anymore, because Gato just does all the fuck shit anyway that Jay White did, installed and did all this other shit. So what we need him for?
I watched these matches after y'all had already gave me recommended matches on what to recommend, and then after I watched the Suzuki and Nagata match, I thought to myself, I might be into watching Okada beat the piss out of Gato, and then as soon as the bell was about to ring and he takes off the sling, and inside the sling is mace, and Okada thwarted the macing, and the mace is on the floor, I was like, nope, I'm good. So I completely skipped it.
Yeah,
I wasn't. Once y'all told me it's a bunch of bullshit, and that's how they started, I was like, "That's the energy you bring. This is the energy I reciprocate. I'm turning it off."
Gato began the match by laying down like he was Jeff Jarrett, and then Okada went to cover him, and then Gato attempted to roll up the small package, and then laughed at Okada almost got you.
Oh my god, I would have hated that match so much. Okay.
Bitch, I was dying.
Okay, can we get to it?
Sure.
Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado. Just a great fucking match. Just beat the hell out of each other. Ishii is clearly Ishii's clearly the superior in kayfabe talent. The whole match is on Desperado to use his show his toughness, show that he can eventually get this dude hurt, work over the leg to try to compete, and then Ishii, the best part about Ishii is he no-sells so much shit that when he eventually starts selling, you're just like, oh my god, he's getting fucking destroyed, and then he fires back up, and he's a fucking I don't know how he keeps doing this to me, but his matches is it's almost like the Tanahashi thing, where it's he comes out, he does his thing, he subverts your expectations, but he does so much stuff that you're so familiar with. he's just a genius. I love watching him wrestle. I don't know how much longer he can keep doing this, but like I'm gonna enjoy every single match, every great match I get out of him because it's so fun.
He's the best. Like,
yeah, he really is.
Like we're talking about, as I mentioned several times on this show, we're talking about one of the greatest wrestlers to ever spout up under God's hot sun.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's 45 years old. He looks like he can keep doing what he does, like, as long as he wants. And, like, you're always going to get top shelf effort. You're going to get, like, a creative match at all times, no matter who it's against, no matter who's the opponent. It's hilarious. It doesn't matter.
And the thing about it is, like, he wrestles with so much pace and he can still move. I'm not saying he was ever some great, I'm not saying he was ever Randy Orton or Leo Rush in the ring as far as like the smoothness and the quickness, but he moves so well in the ring. His pacing for his matches are so good. He almost never sits in any rest hold. All his submissions he ever is in his matches all mean something. It's just this is how you do professional wrestling. This is optimized professional wrestling. Right, but anyway, like there was a spot in the first part of the match where during the parts of the leg where to try to get Desperado like some credibility, he can actually stand up to the onslaught from Ishii. Desperado slaps on a stretch muffler, and Ishii turned it into a knee bar, and I popped. I popped as if it was one of those Ishii like Shibata headbutts. I was like, "This is it. This is the wrestling I want to see." I'm always on cloud nine watching that dude work. He's so great.
Yeah, and ended up going over to round 2. Looks like this Hiromu. I just want this Hiromu Ishii match. We one step closer. We are one step closer to it. It has to be the block final or the regional final.
That's right. Okay.
So
I haven't looked at the bracket in a while.
And Yuji Nagata and Minoru Suzuki.
I don't think I've ever seen a regular rule singles match that was this good where both workers combined took less than 10 bumps. All they did was forearm the shit out of each other, sell the hell out of it, no sell again. And then they start slapping each other, and they started no selling the slaps, then selling the slaps, and then no selling again. And then from there, they took a couple bumps. They ended up on outside where Minoru Suzuki was on front end, like, and then the ref wouldn't let that man cheat, and he was like about to kill that ref, but he let it slide. They ended back in the ring, and they go back to forearm the shit out of each other's heads and necks, and then they do like a couple wrestling moves, like they fight over, Nagata trying to not get Gotch power bombed, and then
he gives him a back suplex.
And then he won off back suplex. And it's like, this... Like, it's gonna hurt to go through it, but like, anybody could have done that match that's ever wrestled, like, if anyone that's ever had like 10 matches could have had that match. Mm-hmm. Obviously you couldn't because like they have that wealth to be able to sell that way in the fish wrestling and just Suzuki
and the callus. Look, the callus that's on your face already.
And the toughness of being that old and having that kind of hand strength. But, like, there's nothing that is really stopping you from being able to replicate this match outside of, dealing with the pain of getting forearmed and slapped in the face and the neck.
It was almost like to a point where I was like, yo, are y'all going to do anything else, like, besides slap each other or whatever? Like, there was a part of the match where I was like, again, like... I like the match. Don't get it wrong, but to me, it wasn't this like I thought. Ishii and Nagata last year blew the doors off of this.
That was better, but that's different because Ishii brings the pace in the movie. Like, yeah, that's a more traditional wrestling match than this was. This was two old men beating the fuck out of each other. Yes, it was two old men beating the fuck out of each other.
This was Hot 97 Smack Fest. This was like just a lot of smacking, like, and, so. Like,
one of my favorite things doing all this stuff is, like, when they doing these exchanges of forearms is when Suzuki starts no-selling, and he's like, that's all you got? That's all you got? And then he hits one of those shits that, like, he hits you so hard that it doesn't come off as a thud, it comes off as a crack, and it's like, what? Like, that dude is a special breed, bro. special breed.
Yeah. So we've got Nagata and Okada in round 2. Looking forward to that. That should be pretty interesting. They've only had one career match against each other, I believe.
How long was that, do you think?
I think 2015, maybe 2014.
Okay.
So a long time ago. Is it the only blue life that matters? Yuji Nagata, Blue Justice. So let's see how far Blue Justice can go here. So we got the second side of the bracket starting tomorrow with the super loaded block.
Saber versus Ibushi. There's Shingo versus Sho.
Tanahashi versus Taichi and Sonata versus Taguchi.
Right. So there's 3 matches that are going to be great, almost guaranteed, and then another match where, like, if Taguchi shows up as a worker, and you already know what they're going to do. Like, I saw the the New Japan Together show that they did, and a lot of it was based on their interaction was like Taguchi, a goofball, trying to put Sonata in the Paradise Lock and failing because he's a goofball and he's not a master. You already know what's going to happen. He's going to put him in the fucking Paradise Lock and kick him in the ass. Like, you already know what's going to happen. But, like, independent of that, like, if he shows up to wrestle and bring it, like, there's going to be at the worst, a very good match.
Interested in the Taichi Tanahashi result. I think that would tip off a lot if Tanahashi happens to get upset here. I think the bracket opens up for Sonata quite greatly. If then you're looking at Ibushi and Saber.
I have a question. How was their G1 match last year? Sonata and Tanahashi.
Sonata and Tanahashi were in different blocks, I think. No, they were not. They were not in different blocks. I didn't see
last year.
Yeah, they were both in A block. I didn't see their match.
Okay.
So they did, I believe, have a match in the New Japan Cup though last year. I don't think I saw that one though.
So you just avoiding the match.
Yeah. So eventually it'll have to. I guess I'll have to do it again. It'll find me. So
I'll let Jeremy about that one then.
Yeah. And then the empty bracket. I think that'll be Wednesday morning. So I think Goto's the only like real star in that one. Okay. But they've got like some kind of odd pairing. So Goto should clear that bracket out, barring Evil's in that block too.
He might get the win back.
But yeah, so good. New Japan Cup is off to a good start. But just because we didn't talk about some of the matches, some of the Young Lion versus I want to say it was Kanemaru versus what's his name, Yuya Uemura and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I would definitely recommend that match. Gabriel Kidd versus Taiji Ishimori was also a nice, neat little match. Gabriel Kidd has like American Dragon energy, so I like check out some of those like unique matches, and I definitely would recommend checking out Yota Tsuji. So like don't sleep on those the lesser matches. But anything else we got on this?
One last thing, Rich.
Oh shit. What we got?
Stardom had their first show since the end of April.
So you mean
yes.
We get to do it?
Yes. Rich,
so
for the first time in weeks,
I guess it's time to hit the music.
Okay, so Sunday, which was Saturday morning or whatever else, they did a show called Stardom Is Again, obviously translation, whatever. what they did was they had 5 matches, and none of them were announced. They said they didn't even announce it to the wrestlers, which is bullshit, but whatever. Let's play along.
No, Ross, you're trying to work.
Right. So the main event turned out to be Stars versus Donna Del Mondo. It is Mayu and Tam and Starlight Kid and Lusaya versus Julia, Shuri, Micah, and new to the company, Jumbo Arita. She's going by her first name, Hamika, either Hameka or Hamika. She is somebody that I have heard of but never seen. Particularly from our homeboy Zach. Zach really, really likes her as far as a worker, but I had never seen her before. Rich, when you see her, you're going to want her to wrestle a bunch of Hoss matches.
So was she like 5'5"?
No, Rich, she's at least 5'7". She's 5'7",
Wow.
5'8".
Giant.
She has
El Gigante.
Yeah, she has weight on her. And she uses it. It's almost like she's almost like she's going to be almost like Stardom's Walter. Let me explain it. She throws chops. She did a okay. You know how people do running power bombs, whatever else, or running liner bombs, whatever else. She didn't do a sit out. She basically dove almost dove with the power bomb like Pete Rose diving to third base.
Wow.
It was fucking crazy. Yo, and she started wrestling in 2000, like Christmas Eve 2017. I looked at her cage match today, and like she has racked up a ton of matches over like the last year and change or year and a half. Like, and she's 23. Her contract at Act Rest Girls ran out, so I guess it's like, remember I was saying like Donna Del Mondo seems like to be like the freelancer invader faction. There's another one. It also makes me wonder like what the hell is on these Act Rest Girls contracts, or are they just written in paper, or are there not contracts? Is it like NOW with the contracts? Because like everybody, it seems like, has somebody that was once in Actress Girls, or they are freelancing everywhere, whether it's Miyuki Takase and Seedling doing the Max Voltic stuff, whether it's Tam's originally from Act Rest Girls actually too. Like it's, you know, Natsumi Maki, who's at or was or is at Tokyo Joshi Pro, was a former Act Rest Girl as well. Sari Ano, who's in Oz Academy and Ozaki Gun, is Act Rest Girls right now too. They just be out there, like, and they be leaving and they don't come back. Like, I don't know what's going on, Act Rest Girls, whatever else, but like they you know, I never watched them, but like they wrestlers just be leaving. Anyway, sound
like the funds ain't right.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But Matt starts out. They have big 5'8" Jumbo out there against Lusaya, and she sold for her, and it went back and forth, and that was fun. And then you get Starlight Kid paired off with Shuri. Hits her
probably kicked her like chest in.
Dude, she hit her. She gave it a snap mirror and went to go kick her in the back, and it thudded so bad in the background you could see Mayu and Tam on the apron. Tam winced and looked away, and Mayu ran up the aisle as a reaction to the kick thudding off her back. She kicked the shit out of this 18-year-old.
It just reminded me that I have to find a new favorite Stardom wrestler.
Oh yeah, I mean there are, you know, lots. So eventually, they get the heat on Starlight Kid, obviously, after she destroys her. Mikey gets in, destroys her as well. Then Tam, she gets out, and it leads to Tam versus Julia, and they proceed to just have this excellent sequence of brawling and counters and strikes and blocking, and it's like more just like Tam is good in tags with everybody. So that was fun as hell. They go to a stalemate with it. It probably went like 4 minutes of just action. It was like the Osprey Ibushi from of Joshi, where they just doing all this great sequencing and shit. That's a stalemate. They then they end up with Jumbo in at the end of it, after all the stuff, ends up with Jumbo and Saya back in the ring. Saya puts on her, hits her flash cover, the Itabashi. She does her, she does her chop stuff that she does. She also now has added to the chop thing where she used to do like the Kabashi chops in the corner. She goes for a big chop. Someone ducks it, comes off the ropes, then she hits with a double chop and then beats on her chest like she stings. She's now added to it. She now comes off the ropes, and you know how people like Ishii or Jungle, they'll do like the sliding clothesline. She does a sliding back elbow, a sliding Judas effect, Rich. So at the end, they make the save for Jumbo. Jumbo ends up hitting that ridiculous ass power bomb, and then gets her up and racks her and makes her tap. And that was the fin. I probably give it like 3.5, 3 3/4. Just a fun ass match. I can't wait to see like Jumbo versus Jungle.
I know you happy this shit back.
Versus Utami versus like fight on someone small like Tam, fight Mayu. I want her to fight every single good wrestler that's left in this promotion and watch her like just see what she can bring, because like she got it's like it was almost like watching like WCW Giant for the first time, except not green but actually fucking good. It was like, Can you imagine? It's like, I never thought this was gonna be in Stardom. This could be like she can move too, Rich. Like she can run. Like this might be like some Aja Kong shit for all we know.
Really?
Yes. Like she's not that violent. She's not that violent, but like,
oh man,
anyway. Maybe
I'm here for the violence.
Maybe she is that violent in a big match. I don't know. Like, but like, yeah, man, she's only been wrestling a couple years. Like she was getting like spotlight matches on like ceiling cards and like had like matches with like Tsukasa Fujimoto, who is an elite level Joshi and not necessarily the ace of Ice Ribbon, but is like the old ace, if you will. So they respect her, even though she only debuted, a few years ago. Like she's getting some big matches. So I assume, looking at that,
streamers.
No streamers because of COVID.
Oh yeah, that's right. No
streamers because of COVID. But
this is the only way B Priestley can compete over there.
Who knows when she shows up? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only matches up yet. The rest of the matches or whatever else, I'll let you know. Like, but yeah, that was the only match I had to watch because I just had to. But they did a 10-bell salute for Hannah. Jungle came out and said that like I'm not ready to wrestle yet, but I'm definitely coming back. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it so far that we have out. But I don't know what the rest of the card is. I blocked all that shit out. Been away from my phone trying to hide it so I can watch this shit.
Looking for you. Where you at? Stop hiding.
Yeah, man. So I mean, that's kind of about where things are right now. But I think last week I was joking with you when we were talking about the Manscaped stuff, and I had mentioned about I guess you were giving Catherine Bush. So like, how is that story going for you?
So let's make a small correction here. I was not giving Catherine Bush. This is no George W. This is no type of Bush going on in here. No Reggie. No. I don't know. No Jenna Bush. No Barbara Bush. None of that. So, that's why Manscaped. You gotta get your Manscaped on. You gotta, I got the Manscaped trimmer next to me. I keep it near me at all times just in case, I feel the urge.
You lying.
Like, I keep it right next to the microphone. Listen to this, y'all. That shit is powerful. Powerful blades, and they took 18 months to get that right, to create the greatest ball trimmer ever created. This is called the Lawnmower 3.0. Their third generation trimmer. It features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce your manscaping accidents, and millions, like The Rock said, of balls are about to be nick free thanks to the Manscaped advanced skin safe technology. So when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. you will get 90 minutes out of this, James. So you can go and make a full project of grooming oneself in the shower there, and they send you something that looks like a newspaper, right? Because when I opened the package, I was like, what the hell is this? And then the newspaper is meant to be put on the floor. So you can, if you're doing the dry style, spread them you put the newspaper down and it's easily cleanable, and you can do it. If you're more of the wet persuasion, it is water resistant.
I'll let you get to your piece. Make sure you wash your ass before you shave yourself, please.
Correct. And it comes with a charger stand, and it's powered by USB. So this is like next level stuff. This isn't the 1.0. This isn't the 2.0. This is the 3.0. Goddamn it! So make sure that you're going to get 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPLEX at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code SUPLEX. Your balls will thank you, and so will the lady in your life.
Yeah, and just for the record, me and Rich, we do this podcast. While we have through a video call. We have each other's video up so we can see their facial expression. Just for the record, that vibration was legitimately a shaver. That was not no toy or nothing. No funny shit or none of that. Just that was actually a toy. That wasn't a rubber pack on the N64 or none of that shit. That was an actual shaver.
That was not the cell phone. That was not the cell phone. That was power. In one's hand. That was not
the Hitachi.
Yes. No one man should have all this power, but
yeah. That's it in the show. This is a real
hey, help your boys out, because we said it a long time ago. We can't wait to sell out, and we can't sell out without y'all.
Yeah. So just to wrap this up, rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check out our friends at powerslam.tv, one of the sponsors for the show. If you're a fan of independent pro wrestling, have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world. Just enter the code Social Suplex and get your free month's trial. Be sure to check out the rest of the shows on the network. On Sundays or Mondays, we have this show, One Nation Radio. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast, who are back off of hiatus. So be sure to check that out.
Welcome back, guys.
Telling you. Every other week we have Roman Watches shit. On Fridays we have Get in the Ring, and on Saturdays we have All Things Elite. So thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Don't forget it.